Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic story part 2. The fanfic title is What If Naruto Was Adopted by Konoha's Deadliest Beauty. If you like this fanfic, don't forget to subscribe my channel. Now let's start the fanfics. Each other for a while before the large serpent released Naruto. He sighed and kept his gaze on the snake. He knew that this was no ordinary snake. It was a snake that was similar to Anko's familiar, Kaijin. Okay friend, take me to your summoner, Naruto said. He jumped on its back and the two slithered away. Sakura and Sasuke was wondering how they got in this situation. A few hours ago, they were arguing about Sasuke's attitude during this exam. She was in agreement with Naruto on this as Sasuke was angry about nothing. Because of this, Naruto demanded the scroll and Sakura agreed to it. He challenged the both of them to come and take the scroll from him, which not only surprised her but annoyed her. It made her question everything about her crush. That's when they were hit by a very strong wind. Lucky for her, Sakura was able to keep herself from being blown away like Sasuke. Naruto was not that lucky. When the wind died out, she was going to look for him when the two of them were confronted by Kisa Kunoichi. She challenged the two of them to a fight. Sasuke was ready for a fight and Sakura decided to back him. That's when they were hit with a killer amount of intent that froze the two. They could each see their death if they faced this woman. Sasuke was the first to break out of the intent and grabbed her. He thought that he got away but he was wrong. The Kunoichi chased them. Sakura attempted to confuse her with a few genjutsu but they were quickly dealt with. Sasuke attacked but it was out of fear. That's when the teenage summoned a snake to face them. Sasuke was so scared that he was about to give her their scroll. She was about to object to this when the Kunoichi and her snake was hit by another snake. The Kunoichi was surprised by the attack and was concerned. She was then struck from the blind side and sent flying off her snake. She quickly flipped out of her flight and landed on her feet. Sakura suddenly felt someone next to her. She turned to see Naruto. He suddenly tossed something to her. It was their scroll. Naruto looked at the Kunoichi before them and slipped out 2 kunai. Sakura, you protect the scroll. Provide support if you can. Sasuke and I are going to have to deal with this Kunoichi. Naruto said. Naruto, I think we should flee. This Kunoichi, she on a different level. Sakura said, I can see that but she's going to just chase us down and kill us. Besides, this chick might have some answers and I'm going to get them. Naruto said and jumped away. Sakura looked on as Naruto appeared in front of the Kisa Kunoichi. The Kunoichi wiped her mouth before facing Naruto. That was quite a punch. She said, I believe I heard that you have some questions for me. I have a question of my own. How did you do that with my snake? Naruto looked at the two snakes who were wrestling each other. After a while they vanished in a puff of smoke. I'm not going to tell you Jack. Now, how in the hell did you get the hubby snake contract? I know that there are only 2 people who have that summoning contract. One is Anko and the other is that bastard who hurt her. Naruto exclaimed. That brought a small smirk to the teen's face. So, Anko hasn't told him much about her past. By the looks of it, he figured some of it himself. Very well, I'll indulge him a little. She thought, you would be right, but do you believe that he wouldn't replace Anko? She was weak after all. It was why she was abandoned by him. I am much stronger than she is. Fine, let's test the theory. Naruto said and charged at her. The Kunoichi grinned and met his charge. Watching the two, Sakura was amazed at the courage that Naruto showed in front of a superior combatant. It boosted her confidence as well. She was about to go and help her teammate when she was stopped by Sasuke. Sasuke, Sakura asked, what are you thinking about? We need to give that woman the scroll. Give me the scroll, Sakura, before that Dobi get us all killed. Sasuke said. Sakura looked at Sasuke for a while, angering him. I said give me the scroll. That's when it happened. A loud crack was heard. Sasuke stepped back stunned at what just happened. Sakura looked at Sasuke with narrowed eyes. I can't believe that the last Uchiha is such a coward. You aren't the Sasuke I fell for. You're a fake. You're not strong at all. Sakura shouted. She took off to help her teammate fight this Kunoichi. Sasuke stood there and placed his hand to his cheek. It stung a lot. What was just said to him had stunned him, and to hear it from Sakura of all people was embarrassing. That's when he heard the voice of his brother. It was telling him how weak he was. It was telling him how he wasn't worth killing. He clenched his fists in anger. He snarled and turned toward the battle. He jumped toward the fighting, hoping to show them that he was not a coward. And attacked. They bite into the man and held out. With amazing strength, Anko pulled him toward her and she punched him in the chest with Senbon between her knuckles. This sent him into the branch hard. She then did a foot stomp on his chest that made him spit blood. She spun him again before slamming him into the tree. She ended her assault by stabbing him in the hand with a knife. She then did one-handed seals, locking her and his hands together. Orochimaru saw this and was shocked. This is the end. This is for Konoha. Anko roared. Sojusosai no Jutsu. Twin snakes mutual death technique. 2 snakes were summoned and they bit the both of them. Anko winced, but she knew that this was for the best. She might die, but she had taken this bastard with her. Still so impulsive, Anko. Did you forget who showed you that jutsu? Orochimaru's voice said from behind her. Anko was shocked and watched the Orochimaru in front of her smile before turning into mud. Anko cursed and dropped to her knees. What would poor Naruto think of his sister figure sacrificing herself, leaving him alone? Anko's eyes went wide, finding the strength within her. She grabbed the kunai from the tree and rushed at him, roaring with rage. Orochimaru did a single seal and Anko suddenly felt unimaginable pain. She dropped to the ground, holding her shoulder. She tried to fight it, but she couldn't. That will be enough. I was very surprised that you would be training the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. I must admit, you did a very good job with him. He impressed me enough that I considered giving him my gift that I gave you. Orochimaru said, if you go near him again, I swear that I'll rip your throat out. Anko snarled through the pain. Orochimaru laughed at her. How delicious. Don't worry, Anko. I have no plans to use him. I have already gotten what I came for. Besides, there are worse people out there that want your dear Otuto, little brother, and you are nowhere strong enough to defeat them. Even I would be wary to get in their way. Orochimaru said. Damn, you, Anko snarled. Do tell sensei not to cancel the exams. I would be most displeased if you do. He said and vanished from view. Anko laid on the tree branch, in pain and near death. She had enough energy to pull out a flare and launch it. After she did, she passed out. As she closed her eyes, she couldn't help but worry about Naruto. Sakura placed a cool rag on Sasuke's forehead before checking over him. It looked like he was okay, but she couldn't really tell. She then turned to Naruto, who was still out. Whatever that man did, knocked him out pretty good. Surprisingly, he was in the same boat as Sasuke as his injuries were healing. She always realized that Naruto seemed to recover faster than most people. She wondered why. She sighed and decided to get a little sleep. She kept a kunai on her person and positioning herself to keep an eye out. She knew that the forest had many enemies and she would have to be ready. It would be a lesson that would save her life when the morning came. Around, he saw Sakura down and that guy with the large eyebrows down as well. Team Asuma didn't look all that good either. He was wondering what the hell happened. That's when he saw Sasuke stalking toward the last remaining guy. He watched as the guy was giving up his scroll in order to leave. He saw Sasuke smirk evilly and rush to attack. Naruto wasn't about to let this happen. He moved and got in Sasuke's path. Sasuke skid to a stop and frowned at Naruto. Get out of the way, Dobi. Sasuke ordered. I don't think so. What the hell is going on with you? What the hell are those tattoos? Naruto demanded. I don't know and I don't care. It has given me the power I was looking for. These Odo Nin will be my first test of this power. Now move. Sasuke ordered again. Why don't you make me? Naruto challenged. Gladly. Sasuke said and vanished. Naruto narrowed his eyes as Sasuke appeared in front of him. He saw that fast punch coming at him. Naruto dodged the blow and grabbed Sasuke by the head. He picked the surprise boy off the ground and slammed his head into the ground. He lifted his head again and drove it into the ground, this time harder. Sasuke groaned and went unconscious. The tattoos that he had were going into a spot on his neck. When Naruto saw the mark, he got really nervous. He stood up and looked at Team Asuma. Okay, can someone explain what the hell is going on? Naruto asked. Sakura moaned and struggled to open her eyes. The moan caught the attention of everyone there and one of them checked on her. Hey forehead, can you hear me? The voice asked. Sakura could barely make the voice out, but after a while, she could begin to hear clearly. She recognized it as someone she knew. Ino Buddha, is that you? Sakura asked groggily. Woo, am I glad that you are alright. She then turned to someone. Hey Naruto, she's waking up. Ino shouted. Sakura looked around and saw Naruto walk up to her. He gave her a grin. There's our hero. How are you feeling? Naruto asked. I feel strange and my hearing isn't all there. What's going on? Sakura asked. She then remembered what happened. Where's Lee? His teammates came and took him. He was really impressed with you. He said a lot of sweet things about your skills and your beauty. Clearly love is blind. Naruto joked. I would hit you if I could. Sakura said with a glare. Naruto just snorted and helped Ino sit her up. Sakura was led to a tree and leaned up against it. She looked around and noticed Shikamaru and Choji. She saw that Sasuke was by himself and was ignoring everyone. She then looked at Naruto. What happened when I went down? Sakura asked. Well, your fall distracted Lee enough for them to get a clean hit on him. Shikamaru's team came and saved you guys, but then they were beaten. That when Sasuke woke up. I wouldn't tell you the details, but let's just say I had to stop him before he killed that Odo team. It seems that they were working for that guy who attacked us. Naruto said. They were working for Orochimaru. Sakura said. Naruto nodded and sat down next to her. So what's our next move, Naruto? Well, we got an Earth scroll and you still have our Heaven scroll. So, we're making a beeline to the tower once you got your bearings. Naruto said. Sakura nodded and rested. She looked around and noticed that everyone was keeping a good distance away from Sasuke. She looked at Naruto and saw that his eyes were narrowed as he looked at him. What did Sasuke do while she was out? Whatever it wasn't good. Naruto and Sakura made their way to their room. They made good time and entered the tower before sunset. Once inside, they read the thing on the wall and figured out that they could open the scroll. Baruka appeared and was very happy to see the team. He congratulated the team but could see the fiction between members. Before he could ask what was wrong, Kakashi appeared and took Sasuke with him. It was surprising, but then Naruto got a suspicious look on his face. Baruka took his attention away and led the two to their room. As Naruto opened the door, he was suddenly tackled. Sakura looked ready to help, but Iruka held her back and just shook his. She looked at the scene and watched as Anko began to check every part of Naruto's body. The blonde was trying to escape, but Anko had him in a strong grip. Hey, what's the big idea, Anko and Isan? Naruto demanded but was ignored. After a few more moments, Anko let out a sigh of relief. Good, I didn't place that mark on you. Sorry about that, Naruto, but I had to shore. Anko said, if you're talking about the mark that is on you, then you need to talk to Sasuke. Orochimaru was after him. Naruto said, yeah, I know, we figured that out. I tried to get the Hokage to take Sasuke out of the exams, but Kakashi stopped me. He was so sure of himself that he could deal with the curse mark. I think that's he's being foolish. Anko said, so that's why he took him? Sakura asked. Baruka nodded at her question. She then looked at Naruto. Naruto, what happened when I was out? I noticed that you were glaring at him and the others kept a wide berth. Naruto looked at her with a serious face. I only know from what I woke up to. I saw Sasuke pull one of those Odo Nin's shoulders out of the sockets. He was then stalking over to the last remaining one with a pleased smile on his face. I got in his way and told him that it was enough. He snarled and actually threw a punch at me. Too bad for him, I wasn't in the mood and I dodged it while grabbing his face and slamming it into the ground, knocking him out. Naruto explained. He then turned to Anko. I think Gigi is making a mistake in allowing Sasuke to continue. He's a danger to everyone if this doesn't work. I know, but my hands are tied. Look, just get some sleep, you two. I will come to get you in the morning for breakfast. Anko said. The two nodded and entered the room. Anko just kept her eye on her Otudo for a while. She did not forget what her bastard of a sensei said to her. There are worse people out there that want your dear Otudo and you are nowhere strong enough to defeat them. Even I would be wary to get in their way. That comment bothered her so much. Who were these people and why were they after him? She had to find answers, and now, tomorrow, she would be taking him aside. She did not wish to allow him to know certain techniques that she learned. It was why she always got him jutsu scrolls. However, whoever these people were that even Orochimaru was weary of, those techniques would be a boon rather than a curse. She was going to make this guy walk around in his underwear. Once Hayate started the match, Ino quickly used her specialty. Shintenshin no Jutsu, mind-body switch technique, Ino shouted. Kankuro was surprised as the jutsu hit him. Ino slumped down and Kankuro stood still. That was until the bundle unraveled and the real Kankuro appeared. He then dispels the henge transformation over his puppet. He moved the puppet and has it show all his weapons. He held there and poised it to kill her. He looked at Hayate, who announced him the winner. He goes back to his team while Asuma comes to get Ino. He knew that the girl would not be happy about her loss. After a while, the names cycled on the board. The next two names were Aburame Shino against Tsurugi Masumi. The two appeared on the ground and they faced each other. Hayate started the match and Masumi attacked Shino with gusto. Shino dodged his attacks and kept ahead of the larger team. Masumi continued to attack him and managed to corner Shino. He then did something that pissed off Anko and Naruto. He seemed to dislocate his joints and began to choke out Shino. The ability was too much like Orochimaru's. "Hey, I've got you now, kid. If you surrender, I won't kill you," Masumi said. Shino did not answer him. After a few minutes and a few threats, Masumi got angry. He snapped Shino's neck and was smirking at his victory. It suddenly turned to shock when Shino dissolved into a lot of Kikaichu, parasitic insects. Masumi would not escape in time as he was consumed by them. He kicked and screamed, but it soon stopped and Masumi was no longer moving. Shino appeared next to his fallen foe and the bugs returned into his coat. Shino is declared the winner and he moves back to his team. On the balcony, Naruto watched Shino and was a little freaked out. He always thought that Shino was a quiet, reserved person, but he saw a vicious side to him that he would have to be careful about. "Hey Naruto," a voice said. Naruto turned to see Shikamaru. "You want some company?" "Yeah, it was getting lonely," he joked. They stood there and waited for the next match to begin. "What made you come here?" Ino woke up and started to complain. Her voice was annoying and I didn't want to deal with it. "So, what's up with you and Sasuke? I know that you guys don't really like each other, but that looked kind of personal. Is it because of what happened in the forest?" Shikamaru asked. "It isn't just the forest. You saw what he did. Sasuke has no remorse about what he does and Kakashi doesn't police his actions. You think that was the only move he copied with his Sharingan? I bet you right now he has it active and is looking to copying some more moves. It might be a powerful tool, but that doesn't give him the right to abuse it. Trust me, he does that shit to me again, I'll bleed his ass." Naruto said. The board stopped on two more names. It was Sakura versus Tsuchikin. Shikamaru saw Naruto get a smile on his face. "What are you so happy about?" "It's Sakura," Shikamaru said. "Get ready to see something amazing, Shikamaru. Sakura isn't that same annoying girl that you remember." "Oh crap." Shikamaru had to continue to run as the weapons came at him again. Tenten missed the running boy again and attempted to move her weapons again. Shikamaru wasn't about to let that happen. He did a seal and his shadow connected with the wires. He used it to connect with Tenten's shadow. Now in control, he used Tenten to turn her weapons on herself. Tenten was very confused and surprised at her actions. She couldn't move her arms to dispel the jutsu and was now at Shikamaru's mercy. With no other choice, Tenten had to surrender. Shikamaru released her and quickly left the floor when he was declared the winner. He reached Naruto, who was now alone again. He glared at his friend who just smirked at him. "You could have made that match a little exciting," Naruto said with a smirk. "I hate you so much right now," Shikamaru said. He quickly hid behind Naruto when Tenten passed by. She attempted to glare a hole through Shikamaru. Naruto just chuckled and turned his attention back to the grounds. The board cycled names again and it was Inuzuka Kiba against Akamichi Choji. The two boys dropped to the ground and prepared to fight. Kiba was cocky and told Akamaru to stay out of this. He used the Shikyaku no Jutsu, 4 legs technique, and attacked. Choji stood his ground and took the blow from Kiba. However, Choji absorbed the blow and threw Kiba back several feet. The boy was surprised and tried again. Choji took the blow again and sent him flying again. Naruto was impressed and looked at Shikamaru. "Wow, I didn't know Choji was so strong," Naruto said. "He's not really strong, but he's using his brain a little. He's using his clan's ability to absorb the damage and return it, using Kiba's own energy against him," Shikamaru said. "That's pretty cool," Naruto said. Kiba growled at Choji, who was standing in the same position. He called Akamaru to his side and gave him a pill. Akamaru's fur turned red and his energy spiked. He jumped on Kiba's head and the boy did a signal seal. "Jujin Bunshin, beast human clone," Kiba called out and Akamaru turned into a copy of Kiba. The two Kiba moved and attacked Choji. Choji stayed on the defensive and was parrying every attack of Kiba's. He was using mostly throws and redirects to combat the two. Kiba was getting frustrated but quickly calmed himself. He threw 2 smoke balls at Choji and blinded him. They both used this to attack Choji. Choji couldn't help himself but take some blows from the two. That's when Kiba decided to finish it. Gatsuga. Fang passing Fang, Kiba said. The two began to spin and came at Choji to finish the match. Baika no Jutsu. Multi-size technique, Choji called out. He grew in size and got very big. When Kiba's and Akamaru's attack hit, Choji was able to absorb the brunt of the attack and threw the two drills away and into the wall. The two crashed into the wall and grunted. Choji decided that it was time to attack. Slipping his arms, legs and head inside, Choji began to roll. Nikuden Sensha. Human bullet tank, Choji shouted and quickly rolled towards them. Kiba shook the cobwebs out but he saw a large rolling ball coming at him. He looked at Akamaru and told Akamaru to move. They did and Choji crashed into the wall. Kiba and Akamaru used the Gatsuga again but Choji used the roll to launch himself from the wall and clash against the Gatsuga. The attacks were batted away and sent flying. Choji managed to stop and took to the air. Using the gravity, Choji brought his full weight down on one of the Kibas. The Kiba gasped before turning back into Akamaru. Kiba roared at Choji for hurting his friend and charged at him with everything. Choji rolled at him as well. Kiba did a powerful Suga, passing Fang, and Choji increased his speed. The two moves clashed and there was a large explosion. Everyone watched the smoke, awaiting a victor. When it did clear, they all saw Choji and Kiba on the ground. They were both not moving and both had swirly eyes. Hayate checked them both and stood. This match has been declared a draw. Hayate said. While the outcome was not what some wanted, people were impressed with the fight. Kurenai went to get her student and Asuma did the same with Choji. Naruto had to say that was a very interesting match. It looks like things are starting to pick up. Let's see, Naruto said and looked around to see who was still left. There's the guy with the large eyebrows, myself, the guy with his arms in slings, Hinata, that Neji guy and the sand guy. Oh man, I can't wait to go. Calm down Naruto, why must you always be so excited? Shikamaru said. Naruto was about to say something when the next two names were shown. Naruto's face took a serious expression when he saw that it would be Hinata against her cousin Neji. He looked across to see Hinata had a similar expression on her face. As Neji made his way down, he appeared right next Naruto. Let's see if your influence has done anything to her. In the end, it is her fate to be a loser, just like you. Neji said and walked off. Naruto just glared at the retreating form of Neji and really resisted to toss a kunai to the back of his head. He looked back toward Hinata who was also making her way down. The two locked eyes with each other for a brief moment. Naruto gave her a thumbs up and a goofy grin. Hinata smiled and nodded at him before continuing. Shikamaru looked at Naruto before facing the field. Do you think that she will do well against Neji Naruto? Shikamaru asked seriously. I think so. I believe that Hinata will not just show Neji just how strong she is but she going to show just how strong a Hyuga can really be. Naruto said. The two focused on the floor and waited for the match to begin. Yeah, I'll be fine. Man, I hope that I don't fight Naruto in the finals. If he could resist my Kajimane no Jutsu, I have no shot. Shikamaru said. The board cycles again and two names pop up. It was Rock Lee versus Gaara. Naruto was glaring at Neji and flipping a kunai knife in the air. It would be so easy to just throw this weapon and bury it inside his head but he knew that Anko would stop him. Anko just looked at him with a sigh and took the kunai away from him. That will be enough of that. There is a great match going on and you're missing it. Anko said. You think I care about this match right now? All I want to cut that son of a bitch into pieces for what he did. Naruto snarled. Come on Naruto, you know her situation with her clan. She's told you about. Why are you so surprised by what happened between the two? Anko asked. Because it's bullshit. She's been listening to that shit from those dried up drones all her life that she's useless. Before she met me, she was this shy girl would always stutter. We became friends and we both pushed each other to be better so we can accomplish our goals. She deserves respect for that. Besides, she is one of my precious people and my best friend. I don't like to see her hurt. Naruto said. Anko had hearts in her eyes and hugged Naruto, holding him in the air. That's just so cute. Why can't Iruka be sweet like you? Anko asked with a pout. Maybe because rape, no matter what reason, is still illegal. Naruto muttered. Anko heard him and turned the hug into a rear naked choke hold. Naruto was flailing around, trying to escape death. The match between Lee and Gaara ended in Gaara's victory. Guy had to step in to save his student who was badly injured. Most of the injuries that he sustained were self-inflicted due to him using the Hachiman 8 gates. Sakura was very concerned about Lee as it seems that his injuries were very bad. As Lee was carried off the floor, the final two genin got ready to fight. Abumi Zaku walked down to the floor, his arms being removed from the slings that he was wearing. Naruto was about to jump down to face him but he was stopped by Anko. "Okay kid, remember what we were talking about before they took Lee out of here?" Anko said, "Alright already, geez, you're acting like you're any better. What about that guy that been walking with a limp for 2 months?" Naruto demanded. "Hey, that bastard called me a whore. I am an active, vibrant woman who just enjoys a good time." Anko explained. "Good time, yeah right." Sneaking into Iruka's home and cutting pieces of his hair to make Iruka doll, he was cut off by Anko punching him in the jaw. Naruto hit the ground with a thud. Everyone just watched with a sweat drop on the back of their heads. Anko frowned and wondered what he was going to complain about now. "You got a problem, Kakashi?" Anko asked. "Yeah, I have a problem. I have a problem with you and Naruto," Kakashi stated with an edge. "Really? Why don't you tell me what we did this time?" Anko asked. "Naruto is a genin and he should start acting like it. You might find it amusing to challenge authority but I don't like it. What I do with my team is not to be questioned or to be challenged. What I do is for his benefit," Kakashi said hotly. "Oh, so he's just supposed to follow your lead like a damn robot. He's just supposed to ignore when he is being treated unfairly. Any ninja worth their salt would have called you out on your bullshit and you know it. You've been playing favorites and Naruto told you so. Respect is earned, not given and you haven't earned any of his or mine." Anko shouted. "Your involvement in Naruto's life has turned him as crazy as you. We already have a copy of Guy. We don't need a copy of you." Kakashi spat. "Well, a copy of me and Guy are a lot better than a copy of you. What's your copy going to do? Is he going to leave behind his friend's body just to save his ass?" Anko shouted. Kakashi was livid and looked ready to attack. That's when an oppressive killing intent flooded the room. Both Jonin turned to see the narrowed eyes of the Sandaime Hokage. Both adults quickly shut up and stood up straight. Sweat rolled off their heads and waited for their leader to talk. The feeling went away and the old man gave the two a stern look. "This discussion about Naruto has gone on long enough. I am tired of hearing the both of argue about the boy. Kakashi, Naruto has always been a free thinker and maybe he has become even more of a free thinker thanks to Anko, but that does not excuse your lack of training of your team. I have kept my eye on your team since that little information about your team's discord was brought to light. Sakura has such potential but you don't nurture it. Naruto is a ninja that is ready for knowledge but you ignore it." "Sir," Kakashi began but he cut off by a stern look. "No more excuses, Kakashi. You will own up to your mistakes. You have not been the Jonin I believe you to be and I am very disappointed in your actions. After the exams are over, a complete review will be held on your performance. We will determine if you are fit to continue on as Jonin sensei of your team. Do you understand?" Hiruzen said. "Yes sir," Kakashi said seriously. "Anko, you are dismissed. I will get you that information as soon as I get it." Hiruzen said. "Thank you sir," Anko said and made her way out of the office. Hiruzen turned his attention to Kakashi. "Now, did you have something to ask me?" Hiruzen asked. "I would like permission to take Sasuke out of the village to train." He answered. "You have it, now go," Hiruzen said. Kakashi bowed and made his way out of the office. Hiruzen sighed and looked out the window. It always gave him peace of mind. He would need it for the coming storm that would hit the village. "Though," Naruto said roughly. Hinata smiled and jumped out of her bed to hug Naruto. Naruto was surprised and took a step back. This proved to be a mistake as Hinata began to fall. Naruto attempted to catch her but he tripped over his feet. The two fell with Hinata landing on top of Naruto. Naruto groaned as he rubbed his head. When he looked up he was staring at two lavender eyes. Hinata was straddling him and the two were blushing really hard. Unfortunately, the noise alerted the two people outside. One was Hinata's caretaker and the other was Hinata's sensei. Both looked at the scene and neither was happy about what they were seeing. Hinata sat up and was very red. Naruto was attempting to get up but he just couldn't with Hinata on top of him. "S-sensei, Keiko, this isn't what it looked like," Hinata quickly said with a stutter. Kurenai and Ko did not let up their glares. They wanted to set Naruto ablaze with the glares. However, a voice stopped them. Well now, you youngsters sure do move fast. Everyone turned to see Jiraiya by the window. The two Jonin were surprised by his arrival. Hey, you're that pervert from yesterday. Naruto said, I don't think that you have any room to judge me considering your position. That comment made the two blush. Anyway, I know that you want to kill the boy, I know the feeling. However, I can't allow you to kill the kid that I'll be training during the month. Say what? Naruto asked. Jiraiya did not answer him. He simply picked up Hinata and placed her in bed. He then grabbed Naruto by the scruff of his coat and vanished with him. The Jonin were very surprised and were left alone with a blushing Hinata. Naruto was a little dizzy due to the vanishing act that Jiraiya pulled. It took him a while to get his footing back. When he did, he rounded on the old man. What's the big idea? What makes you think that I would train with you of all people? Naruto asked loudly. Well, I am the student of the Hokage and one of the strongest ninja around. Besides, I think that we got off on the wrong foot and I would like to change that. Also, with your chakra pool, I was planning to teach you a very powerful jutsu. Jiraiya stated. Naruto was a bit intrigued by this. Okay Kurd, you got my attention but there might be a problem with that. Ever since that guy did something to my gut, my chakra has been acting strange. Naruto explained. Jiraiya was concerned and lifted Naruto's shirt. That's when he saw the seal. So he faced off against Orochimaru. This is his work, crude and not professional. If he's going to learn the Kuchio's no jutsu, summoning technique, then I will need to deal with this. He thought. As he gathered chakra, he got a wicked smile on his face. Okay kid, get ready for this. Gogyo Kaien. 5 elements unseal. Jiraiya slammed his palm into Naruto's gut. The blonde felt the air left his body as Jiraiya watched the seal disappear. Naruto got on his knees and took a few breaths. Jiraiya just had his grin on his face. So, how does your chakra feel kid? Jiraiya asked. It feels okay, it feels okay. I can't say the same for you though. Naruto said through breaths. Oh, why's that? He asked. Naruto launched himself at the man. Jiraiya just smirked at him. Jiraiya entered Naruto's apartment and dropped the blonde on his couch. He had to admit that the boy was very skilled. Anko had done a really good job training him. He thought that he would have to teach him how to fight the Hyuga that he was attempting to get revenge on, but that would not be necessary. He would just focus on teaching him the Kuchio and giving him some advice. As he stood straight, he felt the tip of a kunai on his back. You have 5 seconds to tell me what you did to my Otudo or I'm going to bleed and dry. Anko threatened. Temple 3 miles west of the border. Kaijin said, wait a minute, won't you get in trouble for this? I mean, aren't you a part of Manda's group? If Onisan signs that contract, won't he immediately suspect you? Naruto asked with worry. Thank you for the concern Rad, but I will be just fine. As long as my dear Anko has a proper contract, I feel no fear. She deserves to be happy and out of Orochimaru's shadow. Anko smiled at her friend and petted his head. Naruto smirked too until Kaijin wrapped his tail around him and began to shock him. Anko just laughed. Jiraiya looked at Naruto as he danced around after his latest summoning success. Gamma just looked at him while he cheered. Jiraiya had to admit that the boy was trained really well. When he first attempted this jutsu, he laughed outright when he summoned an tadpole. 2 days later, he managed to summon a small toad named Gamakichi. The two hit it off pretty well. The next day, he summoned Gamakichi's brother, Gamatatsu. The next day, he summoned Kosuke and now he summoned Gama. While very impressed with Naruto learning rate, he wanted to see Naruto attempt to use the chakra of his prisoner. Talking with Anko, he knew that would not be easy. She explained to him that Naruto was fearful of that chakra because of what happened on his first mission outside of the village. Naruto pushed himself in his training so that he would not have to use its chakra at all. He found it impressive that Naruto would do that, but it was going to be a chore to change his mind. The chakra that he had access to would help him in the long run. The group that Orochimaru told her about was not someone that you go against with such little power. He would need the power of the Kyuubi whether he liked it or not. Naruto. Jiraiya called out. Naruto stopped dancing and turned toward him. It's time to take your training up to the next level. He then turned to the toads. You guys head back now. Naruto will summon you later. The toads returned while Jiraiya led Naruto away. Anko stood in front of the person who was both surprised and terrified of her request. Anko did not see what the big deal was. The person in front of her helped out Naruto. Why could he help her? Anko, this is a very strange request. He said. How is it strange? You're a teacher, right? So teach me. Help me with my basics and run me through some drills. I think you're the best one for the job. Anko said with a smile. The man just looked at her again. But, I'm just a chunin. Wouldn't Ebisu be a better choice? He's a better trainer than I, he said. Nah, Ebisu is too boring. Plus I have a good source that says that he's a closet pervert. Besides, he's helping that pink-haired Kunoichi for the finals. Come on, I can really use your help and I trust you. Please help me, Iruka-sensei. Anko begged with puppy dog eyes. While Iruka could resist Naruto's, Konohamaru's and others, Anko was just too cute when she did this. Okay, I can work out some stuff to help you improve. Iruka said. He was suddenly engulfed in a hug by Anko. Oh thank you, this is going to be so much fun. Anko cheered. Iruka couldn't get a word in as his face was currently smashed between Anko's breasts. Konohamaru, Moegi, Udon and several others watched this with some surprise. I don't get it. Naruto Oyabe's boss is as nutty as they come and he got Hinata as his girlfriend. Iruka-sensei is boring as sin and this hottie is smashing his head into her chest. What do they got that I don't? Konohamaru asked. Nobody had an answer for him. Naruto tried to grab onto anything to save himself. He needed to do so or else he was going to die. It started when Ero Sennin was telling him about the chakra of the Kyuubi. The man wanted him to learn how to harness its power. Naruto flat out refused to, telling him that he did not need its power. That when Jiraiya apologized to him before sending him flying across some land and into a large gorge. Naruto tried to use his chakra to get a grip on the side but it was too slippery. As he looked into the void, he saw his life flash before his eyes. He was going to die. That's when he appeared in a pool of water. Confused, Naruto looked around to find a large gate. A piece of paper looked like it was holding it close. Naruto was wondering where he was until he felt an oppressive chakra behind him. It came from behind the gate. He turned around to see two red eyes and a row of teeth. Naruto gulped and his fear seemed to amuse whatever was behind the cage. Welcome Warden, I'm glad to finally meet you. Author's notes. I'm guessing that you are going to flame me for not allowing Naruto to sign the hubby contract. Someone who reads this story contacted me and we were going back and forth about my decision to allow him to sign the hubby contract. They made a very good point against having Naruto sign it. While this is a fan fiction, you do what to make it stick to the original plot somewhat. The reason they gave me is in this chapter and I agree with it. Still, that doesn't mean that Naruto won't still sign a contract connected to snakes. You voted and you wanted him to sign the hubby contract. It's just going to be a different one. Like I said, this is fan fiction. You can add your own spin on it. Both Naruto and Anko will be the first summoners of this contract. You will still get a hubby summoning Naruto. You wanted it and you're going to get it. Anyway, enjoy the new chapter. Sorry that it's so short. Concerned. He did not believe that he did anything wrong but he was starting to reconsider it. Was Naruto angry with him? Did he cross a line? Jiraiya squashed his concerns and decided to focus on the positive. While Naruto might have been angry with him, he would thank him for it later. Naruto was on his roof, looking at the night sky. He couldn't sleep and had a lot on his mind. He would usually go and speak with Hinata because she had some really sound advice. However, that wasn't an option. Apparently, he was accused of molesting Hinata. Breaking in was a bad decision as every Hyuga was on alert and jumped him when he did. Luckily he was able to get free and escape. He was hard-pressed to escape because Hiyashi was on his ass. He let out a sigh as he thought about that Gaara guy. He read between the lines. He was just like him. He had lived a very hard life. He could see it in his eyes. It was like looking at the flip side of his life. He held no illusion that he could have ended up like that. He had such feelings before. His outlet was his pranks because no matter if they shouted and yelled at him, they acknowledged him. Then he found a sister in Anko and then friends at the academy, like Shikamaru and Hinata. If he was to be honest, even Sakura was becoming a good friend. He let out another sigh and continued to watch the sky. Couldn't sleep. Naruto looked to his left to see Anko lying right next to him. Want to talk about it? There isn't anything to talk about. That could have been me. Naruto said, but it wasn't. You want to know why you and Gaara are so different? The reason is because you did not give up. You've been kicked down and thrown on the deck but you get up off the deck and persevere. Your will is stronger than his, stronger than mine. Anko said, what are you talking about? I know that you have friends. The only people who hate you are civilian wives and girlfriends. For some reason, Iruka allows you to hang around him knowing that one day you will take him and rape him. How is my will stronger than yours? Naruto asked. You forget, brat, I'm the former apprentice of Orochimaru. You think that it was easy for me. Everyone always believed that I would soon follow in his footsteps. They thought that I was unworthy to wear their symbol. I was called a lot worse back in the days. Truth be told, I didn't get my first friend until I was an adult. I was alone and I was angry. I lashed out and I didn't care about anyone. What changed? One of my old teammates happened. He saw what was happening and stepped in to help me. I wasn't happy for his help and tore into him. That's when he slapped me and tore into me. It was surprising that he was so angry at how I was acting. The next day I apologized and we were talking again. He introduced me to some more people and I made some more friends. The council started to trust me more and I gained my recognition. Yeah, I still caused trouble but it a little tamed. Anko said, I think I get what you are saying. Still, I can't help but wonder about that Gaara guy. We are so alike and I feel that I got to help him somehow. Naruto said, if that's how you feel, I got your back. Just be careful, he won't be easy to convince or fight. Anko said, yeah, but with your training, I think that I have him. Naruto said boastfully. The two stayed on the roof and looked at the night sky. That's when he remembered something. Oh yeah, I've been meaning to ask you. Why was Iruka asking me about you? He did, Anko asked with surprise. Yeah, something about training. I thought that it was a joke but he was being serious. Why are you training with Iruka-sensei? Naruto asked. Anko looked at Naruto and gave him a serious expression. I'm preparing for a group that will soon make its move. Anko said, what group? They are called the Akatsuki. Don't think your dad is going to allow that. Kiba said, do you really? T think that he was courting me? Hinata asked nervously, poking her fingers together. Kiba just laughed at his teammate. Naruto arrived after 3 minutes of holding the matches up. He had a happy look on his face and pep in his step. He saw Shikamaru, Sakura and Shino. Yo, did you see me out there? Naruto asked. He got his answer from Sakura with a bop on the head. He rubbed the spot and gave her a glare. What the hell was that about? You idiot, how can you do that to Hinata? Sakura exclaimed. Naruto looked confused so Shikamaru decided to speak. The way you spoke out there, it sounded like you were going to court Hinata. He said. Say what now? Naruto asked confused. It earned him another bump on the head. What he means, stupid, is that the words that he sent down there sounded like the words of man confessing his love for a woman. You've creating more news in the village than ever. You know how shy Hinata is and now she's going to be hounded because of you. Sakura stated. Naruto looked at her with wide eyes. But that's not how I meant it. I'm already in trouble with the Hyuga. Oh man, Hiashi is going to murder me. Naruto said with worry. Shikamaru just laughed at his friend and Sakura sighed. After them, Shino explained. Naruto let out a curse. We have to get Sasuke invoked. He doesn't have the tools to fight Gaara. Naruto said. He looked at the two next to him. I'll explain on the way, but if we don't stop Sasuke from engaging him, he is going to die. The two nodded at Naruto and they took off after their comrade. Kakashi took out another invader. He looked out to see that Naruto, Shikamaru and Shino were making their way out of the stadium. The direction that they were heading in, they were going after Sasuke. Kakashi was happy about this because he had a bad feeling about Gaara. He turned around to see Sakura dodging another kunai strike. She threw a smoke bomb at the man and he was on the ground. It must have been some sort of knockout gas if he fell like that. Sakura then kneed another invader in the nuts before creaming him with a very strong punch. Thinking quickly, Kakashi made a decision. Sakura, he called out. The Pinkett did not turn away from the battle but moved closer to her sensei. Kakashi was impressed. I need you to wake up 2 of your classmates and make your way to back up Naruto's squad. They are going after Sasuke and I feel that they would need backup. This is an A- rank mission. That surprised Sakura but she quickly nodded and made her way into the aisles, keeping her head down. She was about to wake Ino and Choji but neither knew how to track. That's when she remembered who else was at the stadium. Sakura moved quickly through the sleeping people and saw Hinata and Kiba. She also saw 2 Kumo ninja going after Hinata. She threw 2 kunai, which lodged into the man's kneecaps. The other one turned only to hit with a knockout blow. The Kumo ninja that she disabled growled and was about to launch a jutsu, but he was quickly knocked out by an elder Hyuga. The elder thanked her for saving Hinata. Sakura nodded before dispelling the genjutsu on Kiba, Akamaru and Hinata. OWW, what hit me? Kiba groaned. No time, I need you, Akamaru and Hinata to come with me now. Sakura exclaimed. What's going on? Hinata asked. They looked around and noticed the fighting. We are being attacked and we are tasked with backing up Naruto's group. I'll explain on the way, but Kiba, I need you to get there sent. Sakura ordered. There's too much blood in the air. We need to get out of here and fast. The four quickly made their way out of the stadium in order to find their friends. However, they were seen by a man with an Anbu mask on. He was flanked by 9 Odo ninja. Well now, where are they going? The man said. He gave a signal and the 9 disappeared. Wait a minute, you're telling us that this Gaara has a real demon in him? That wasn't just talk, Shikamaru asked with shock. Yeah, I looked it up after that encounter in the hospital. This Shukaku is similar, like Kyuubi similar. He has the weakest sealed with him, but that doesn't make him any less dangerous. Naruto explained. Since you have the most information, Naruto, what is our plan of attack? Shino asked. We need to get Sasuke in retreat. While we might have had a chance with the 4 of us against him, but with his siblings there, it would make the battle harder. We grab Sasuke, by force if we have to, and get back to the village to find Arrow Sennin, Pervy Sage. He's the only one I know who can stop Gaara, Naruto said. The two nodded at Naruto. It was a sound plan and they would follow it to the letter. They increased their speed. He did a few hand seals. Kaden. Karyudan. Fire release. Fire dragon bullet. Naruto blew out a stream of fire at Temari. Using her fan, she blew herself out of the way of the fire. She landed but quickly had to get out of the way as she saw that slacker's shadow. Shino used this distraction to attack Kankuro. The puppet user had to turn his attention to the bug user. Sasuke saw this but did not back Shino up. He looked around the area for Gaara. Back with the other two, Temari swung her fan hard. Kameidachi no Jutsu. Sickle Weasel technique, she roared. Naruto and Shikamaru quickly ducked for cover as the wind passed by them. Naruto saw just how deep the wind blades were cutting. She is seriously trying to kill us, Naruto said. You think? Shikamaru asked with a tone. Hey, it's your fault that she's angry. Naruto shouted. My fault? How is this my fault? Shikamaru shouted back. If you treated her like a shinobi instead of a girl, maybe she wouldn't be so angry with us. Don't give me that men don't hit women crap. In this world, even the girly can kill. Naruto said. You are really blaming me for this? Shikamaru demanded. Naruto was about to answer when he saw Temari. Shikamaru turned only to see the satisfied grin on her face. Kameidachi no Jutsu, she said and blasted the two away. They screamed as the wind blades tore into them. Temari smirked but it soon faded when they both dispelled. She cursed and quickly got off the ground, looking for a shadow. That's when she heard metal flying through the air. She twisted enough to avoid any critical damage, but it did force her to release her fan. She landed on the side of a tree and saw Naruto coming at her. She looked to run when she felt a familiar feeling. She had no choice but to take the haymaker that Naruto landed on her face. Shikamaru released his shadow in time as Temari was sent flying onto the ground. She hit the ground with a thud and laid there. Naruto looked at Shikamaru. Go and help Shino. I got this, Naruto said. Shikamaru nodded and went to help their teammate. Naruto landed on the ground just as Temari was struggling to get to her fan. When she was inches away, Kunai landed right in front of her. She looked up to see several of Naruto's clones. They were all armed and ready to take her out. That's enough. Give up and I won't kill you, Naruto called out. Temari growled but she knew that she was beaten again. She placed her hands in front of her as a form of surrender. Meanwhile, Sasuke was still looking for Gaara. Shino was in a fight with Kankuro but he did not care. All he wanted was to finish his fight with Gaara. He kept his eyes out for the red head. That's when he heard his target. He saw Gaara, hand gripping his head. It was as if he was in complete pain. Sasuke did not care and made his move toward him. As he landed, he did a couple of hand seals. Kaden. Gokaku no Jutsu. Fire release. Great fireball technique. Sasuke spat a flame right at Gaara. Gaara saw this and raised his hand. It quickly transformed in a large claw. The claw turned into a shield and blocked the attack. When Gaara lowered the shield, he looked at Sasuke with madness. So you want to end my existence, Uchiha? You will have to do better. Gaara roared and unleashed his chakra. Half of his face was also transformed and a tail appeared from his gourd. With a roar, he charged after Sasuke. Back in the trees, Shino was beginning to fade. His distraction cost him. He saw Sasuke leap after Gaara and attempted to stop him. That's when he was hit with a poisonous smoke bomb. He inhaled some but was still able to fight. However, he was fading fast and he didn't know how much longer he would last. Lucky for him, his bugs managed to capture Kankuro and drain him of his chakra. Shino just did not have the energy to finish him off. Shikamaru arrived and knelt down to the Aburame. Naruto soon joined them with a tied-up Temari. Naruto looked at Shino and saw that he was not good. Shino, where are you hit? Naruto asked. Inhaled poison. I can't get rid of it, Shino said. Handing Temari to Shikamaru, Naruto made his way to Kankuro. Kankuro had a little energy to attack but that was quickly stopped by Naruto. He took a kunai and slammed it into Kankuro's hand. The teen screamed out in pain. You have until 5 to give me that antidote or I'm going to start stabbing. I'll start with your hands and end with your junk. 1, 2, Naruto started as he pulled out another kunai. Left pocket, Kankuro shouted. Naruto held the kunai to his neck and dug into his left pocket. He pulled out 2 vials, one purple, one green. Naruto glared at him and pushed the kunai more into his neck. The green vial. Naruto summoned a clone and gave him the vial. He made his way to Shino and had him drink it. Shino was lying on the branch but he could feel the liquid working. Shikamaru gave a positive signal to Naruto. The blonde removed the kunai from Kankuro's neck and pulled the kunai free from Kankuro's hand. That's when something landed right next to the two with a thud. It was Sasuke and he was all beat up. He had those marks going up his face again but it did not look like he would be fighting. Something else landed near to them. When the dust settled, Kankuro and Temari were scared. Shikamaru was too as was Naruto. Gaara looked ready to rip someone apart. He was looking at Sasuke with a crazed look. We need to get out of here, now. Temari explained. Gaara roared and charged at the falling Sasuke. Naruto quickly squashed his fear and did hand seals. Doden. Yomi Numa. Earth release. Swamp of the underworld, Naruto called out. A large swamp appeared and Gaara was stopped in mid-stride. As he attempted to get out, Naruto's clone had finished a set of seals of his own. Sweden. Daibakufu no Jutsu. Water release. Great waterfall technique, the clone shouted. The water twisted and launched itself at Gaara. Gaara was swept up on the vortex and carried deeper in the forest, slamming through trees. The two watched as the jutsu ended but could not see Gaara. Naruto looked at Shikamaru before doing the seal for the Kage Bunshin, shadow clone. He summoned 2 clones. You 3, get everybody out of here. I'll give you time, Naruto ordered. They nodded and grabbed Sasuke, Kankuro and Shino. Shikamaru looked at his friend. Naruto, what are you doing? Shikamaru shouted. I know more about this than you. That isn't going to slow down Gaara. I'll cover your escape, Naruto said. Shikamaru looked ready to argue but Naruto cut him off. Don't, I'll be fine. Just get the others to safety and find a guy named Jiraiya. Now, go. Shikamaru growled but he grabbed Temari and took off with the other clones. Naruto made sure that they were gone before turning around. He knew that Gaara was making his way toward him. He could feel it. He flicked out 2 kunai and got ready for a fight. I really don't know. We were watching that thing smash the ground beneath him. Suddenly, that large toad arrived in a plume of smoke. I know that toad. It is the same toad that was used by the Yondaime 4th Hokage when the Kyuubi attacked the village, the ninja said. The Yondaime summoned toads. When did Naruto learn that? Shikamaru asked loudly. The ninja turned to him and looked at him seriously. What are you talking about? The only other person who uses toads is Jiraiya, the Gamma Toad Senin Hermit. He's at the gates right now. The Chunin said. Well, apparently there is another because that's where Naruto is and he is fighting that thing. Shikamaru said. The Chunin and some of the civilians looked at him with shock before turning their attention back to the clash. Shikamaru just looked on with a multitude of questions. Where, when, who, where and why just came up in his head. He put that all in the back of his mind right now and prayed for his friend's victory. Gamabunga fired another ball of compressed water at Beast. It countered with a ball of compressed air. The 2 jutsu clashed, creating a swirl of wind and water that nearly tore the forest below them into pieces. Gamabunta looked at the demon who was laughing like a crazy man. This is not good, Naruto. When he gave control over to his demon, he has become stronger. If this continues, we will not be able to hang on. Gamabunta said. He was angry with himself. He had been out of practice for a while and it was showing. Naruto was also angry because he had no idea what to do. They couldn't let this demon win. That's when something happened. Kuchio's no jutsu. A voice shouted. A large plume appeared and out of the smoke, shot a large blue snake. It moved quickly and restrained Shukaku. What the hell is this? Shukaku roared and attempted to pry the serpent off. Holy shit, that's Nagai. That means, Naruto said, but he was cut off by a loud roar. Uzumaki Naruto, what the hell do you think that you are doing? Anko's voice roared. Naruto was clearly terrified as his Oni-san has entered the fray. His mind for now and watched as someone gave some final words to his surrogate grandfather. Naruto and Anko were enjoying some ramen after the funeral. The skies cleared up and they were hungry. Naruto wasn't eating like he was, but he was eating. After the four gave a last hooray to the Sandane, Naruto saw Kiba and Hinata out of the corner of his eye approaching him. He turned around to greet them but stopped when he saw their faces. Is something wrong, guys? Naruto asked. We need to talk about Sakura. Kiba said. Naruto gave them his attention. I noticed something was up with her. Did something happen during the invasion? Naruto asked. She had to kill a man. Kiba answered. Naruto was stunned to hear that. That would explain a lot from what he saw. She's not taking it well, is she? Naruto asked worriedly. No, Naruto-kun, she is not well. I do not think she has gotten over her first kill. Hinata explained. We attempted to check on her after the funeral when she nearly punched my head off. If it wasn't for my father, I could have been seriously hurt. Hinata said without a stutter. Naruto realized that this was serious. We told your sensei, but it doesn't seem like he's taking it too seriously. He said to give her time and if it gets worse, he'll step in. Kiba added. Naruto narrowed his eyes at that. Anko just sighed at the man's stupidity. If Sakura was losing it, she needed help. Today might have been a time of mourning, but someone needed help. Naruto thanked the two before leaving. Sakura was sitting on her bed, curled up in a ball. She was very tired and she looked horrible. She wasn't getting enough sleep. She hadn't slept in 3 days. Every time she did, she would see the face of the man that she killed. He haunted her dreams and would curse her name. Even when she was up, she could hear his voice, telling her that she killed him. Sakura couldn't even look in a mirror without seeing him. She felt guilty because she was worrying her family and comrades. Her father would stay up with her at night. Her mother was getting frowns lines due to her worry. She nearly took Hinata's head off and would have if it wasn't for her father. Her parents wanted her to talk, but it was too hard. Sakura resolved herself to deal with it herself. Like it said in the guide, she would deal with this like a true shinobi would. Suddenly, she heard a knock at her window. She turned to see that it was Naruto. Sakura cleaned herself up as best as she could before opening the window. What is it, Naruto? It's not a good time right now. Well, I'm sorry, but you need to hear this. Due to who trained me, I'm going to be really in your face. Now, if you think that I'm going to allow you to self-destruct because you want to do this by yourself, then we're going to fight. Naruto stated. What? Sakura asked stunned. Do you really think that you of all people can handle this by yourself? You think all those shinobi rules you learned in the academy is going to help you get over it? Don't be stupid. You can't keep this buried. You can't become like me or Sasuke. Naruto shouted at her. Why are you shouting at me? What the hell do you know? Sakura shouted back. I know more than you think. You think I've always been like this goofy troublemaker. You are talking to a guy who has always been alone, always been ignored. You know what I did with all those feelings I had. I buried all those bad feelings because I thought that it helped me move forward. You want to know what I realized? That I made the biggest mistake ever. Naruto said calmly. Sakura looked at Naruto with stunned silence. Naruto continued to speak. I buried a lot of bad feelings, Sakura. A lot of what you see is a mask that I created to keep myself from getting hurt. I've been using it for years. I could tell you that it helps, but sooner or later, it's going to slip. I'm an example. Anko Onisan is an example and Sasuke is definitely an example. He's got issues upon issues. The point that I'm getting to Sakura is that keeping it in doesn't really work. You're not us. You're outgoing, bubbly and girly to keep stuff in. Naruto said. The comment made Sakura giggle. It was the first time that she did in 3 days. She was silent for a while before facing the boy in her window. So, what do you think I should do? Sakura asked. I'm scared, Naruto. I see that man's face every time I close my eyes. I don't know what I can do. You're doing something now. Admitting that you have a problem is the first step. You got to talk to your parents. Let those that love about you take care of you. Me, Kiba, Hinata, your parents, you have a group that only want the best for you. When you get back to that place, your spot will be waiting for you. Naruto said with a grin. Sakura chuckled at the stupid grin on his face. She couldn't believe that Naruto was making her do that. Thank you, Naruto. I mean it. Sakura said. Naruto clicked his tongue before bouncing off on the rooftops. Sakura turned around and was surprised to see her door open and her parents in the doorway. They smiled at her and held out their arms. Sakura started to tear up before rushing into their arms. The adults hugged their child and never let go. Watching from the rooftops, Anko couldn't help but smile at the scene. Her Otudo had done really good. She looked up to the sky. The will of fire is still strong, Sandaime-sama. Everything is going to be fine, she said. Anko turned and vanished. A lone leaf floated in the air and up to the heavens. Civilians pace and they had not spoken to each other since leaving. Jiraiya tried but he would get a snarky reply from the blonde. It was starting to get annoying. Okay kid, what is your problem with me? You can't still be mad at me about what I did during training. Jiraiya asked. Naruto stopped and turned to face the Sannin. He gave him a serious glance. Were you ever going to tell about the Akatsuki? Naruto asked, surprising Jiraiya. I mean, that is the reason you really wanted me to use the cutie's chakra, right? Jiraiya cursed mentally and was a little peeved at Anko. His hesitation only pissed the blonde off. He turned to walk off but Jiraiya got in front of him to stop him. Okay, perhaps I should have told you why I wanted you to use its chakra. Yes, part of the reason is the Akatsuki. They are after you, or rather, they are after your tenant. That is one of the reasons I forced you to use its power. You need to be ready to face them in the future. He explained. Then you should have said so, Ero Sennin, pervy sage. I'm so sick of people thinking that I'm some stupid kid. I understand things as well enough when it comes to me. Naruto shouted. Look, there is a reason why things are like that. We are just trying to protect you. Jiraiya said. Whatever, let's just get this over with. Naruto said and walked off. Jiraiya sighed and pinched the bridge of his nose. He was really hoping to get to know his godson a little but it looked like it would be harder than he thought. He followed Naruto to a nearby town, unaware that they were being followed. Sakura was annoyed. She looked at the treats that she brought that were crushed thanks to Sasuke. She was beginning to wonder what she ever saw in him. Puffing in annoyance, she decided to buy some more treats and go to visit Lee in the hospital. That's when she walked past a tea shop and saw Anko. Sakura decided to say hi to her. Hello Anko-san. Sakura greeted. Hey Thinky, how are doing? Anko asked with a grin. I'm doing a little better. Mitsune tells me that I should be good to go in a month or two. Baruka is going to do my evaluation when Mitsune gives the word. Still, I'm a little annoyed today. Sakura said. Why? What's going on? She asked. I really don't know. I was going to offer Naruto one of these, mochi, as a thank you for his words. That's when Sasuke ran up on me and demanded to know where Naruto was. I didn't know and he knocks over my box of mochi. He rushed off without an apology and crushed my treats. That's something all these prodigies have. I call it the asshole. You shouldn't let it bother you so much. If you want, I'll tell Naruto when he comes back from his mission. I'll even buy you some dango to replace the mochi. Anko said. Thanks a lot Anko-san. I think that we would like that. Sakura said. So you're interested in Mini, Anko asked slyly. What? No, we're just friends. She explained. Oh that's so cute. It's that type of denial that makes it so amusing. You and that Hyuga girl have to take control, like I do when it comes to the man you want. Speaking of control, hey Iruka-kun. Anko called out. Seeing Anko, Iruka immediately turned and darted in the other direction. This just made Anko grin widely. I love it when he runs. It gives me a good view of that butt. She turned to the shopkeeper. Put those dango on my tab for Pinky here. I have a chunin to chase. With that, Anko took off after Iruka. Sakura just blinked at the scene and wondered just how much she influenced Naruto. Naruto was bouncing a ball around the room while his clones were also doing various things. He did this to take his mind off that stupid pervert. They didn't even get settled until he chased after some skirt. Why was he burdened with such a poor sensei? He should have fought harder with Anko about coming on this stupid trip. His attention turned to the door when he heard a knock. One of his clones went to the door and was about to mock Jiraiya for his failing. When he opened the door, he was surprised to see a pair of Sharingan eyes. The older team looked a lot like Sasuke. That's when he saw his robes and realized just who this guy worked for. Oh shit, the clone cursed. This got the attention of the other clone and the original. They joined him and saw who they were facing. They also cursed but mentally. The young adult noticed the look of recognition and wondered how he knew. That's when his partner stepped into view. Seeing him, Naruto knew that he was in some real trouble. You never told me that the boy knew the Cage Bunshin, Shadow Clone Itachi. He said, it also seems that he also knows just who we are kissing. Itachi added, is that so? Well, I guess that means we don't have to explain ourselves. Isn't that right, Kyubi? Kisame asked with a grin. Being called that did not sit well with Naruto or his clones. Hey, the name is Naruto Fish Face. They all exclaimed. Fish Face? I haven't heard that one before. Kisame said with a chuckle. Have you heard that you're overcompensating with such a large weapon and you really have to pay for it because of the smell you produce? Was the innocent question from one of them. Kisame lost his smile. The amused snort that came from his teammate only made Kisame frown. Can I cut off his legs now? Kisame asked with annoyance. Itachi. A voice shouted. Everyone looked down the hall to see an enraged Sasuke. Naruto couldn't believe that his luck was this bad. Who's the brat? Kisame asked. He's my younger brother. Itachi answered. Really? I thought you killed every Uchiha. Kisame asked with a grin. You were never held as a child, were you? Naruto insulted. Kisame gave him a glare. I swear, the first chance I get, I am shaving off your legs. Kisame said. Enough. Sasuke shouted, tired of being ignored. I have done as you have asked. I have hated you. I have loathed you. I have done nothing but hate you. Now, I shall take my vengeance. Sasuke activated the Chidori and charged at the group, his Sharingan blazing. Aren't you the village's spy master? Are you telling me that you couldn't even get one single name other than Orochimaru? Naruto demanded. I'm sorry that my information does not impress you, but I'm trying my best to get more information. You're just going to have to deal with it. Jiraiya countered. Deal with it. That's you damn answer. Why don't you do your blasted job, Ero Sennin? Naruto spat. I will not be questioned by a genin. You know nothing of the real world. A true ninja endures every challenge that comes at him. Jiraiya shouted. Don't you lecture me. What the hell do you know about what I have to endure? Before Anko, I used to be ignored and hated. I didn't know why, but I would always smile and keep going. Even after I learned why, I still get up and protect those who have ignored me. I don't know about enduring or hardships. Screw you, asshole, Naruto exclaimed and stormed off. Jiraiya sighed and pinched the bridge of his nose. Why did things have to be so complicated? He realized that he was out of line when he shouted at Naruto. Hearing his godson's words made him realize just how much he failed in his duties. He knew what Naruto endured and he was not happy. He even told his past sensei about it, but he turned it around on him. It only increased his guilt and highlighted his failures. After a while, he stood and went in search of the blonde. He found him training. He did not stop when he entered the field. Naruto ignored him and continued to train. Jiraiya knew this, but it would not stop him from speaking. Okay Naruto, that was a bad move on my part and I'm sorry. I don't know what you have been through and I have no right to tell you anything. Still, we have a mission that we need to complete. We need to put our differences aside and finish it. Can we agree on that? Jiraiya asked. Naruto stopped training and turned to face him. He was still angry, but he was taught to always think about the mission first. He huffed in annoyance but nodded in acceptance. Jiraiya grinned at the blonde. Good. As a sign of good faith, I'll teach you a jutsu. It's a powerful one too. What kind of jutsu? Naruto asked. Jiraiya held out his palm and formed a sphere of chakra. Naruto was stunned by the jutsu. He was even more surprised that he did it without hand seals. He looked at Jiraiya, who just had a triumphant smirk on his face. I figured that would be your answer, but I'm not leaving here until you agree. There is no one else who can take up the mantle. It has to be you. He explained. Why should it be me? You were Sensei's favorite. You should take up the hat. I'll pray for your safety, not that it will help you much. So, you're still on that same old story, huh? Why should I change my position? Anyone who wants to be Hokage is a fool who is looking for a way to die. Sorry, but I like to live a little bit more. Tsunade said. Hey, what are you talking about, Grandma? Naruto said, cutting in on the conversation. You got something against the title of Hokage. Tsunade looked at the blonde before smirking at him. Like I said, only fools have dreams of being Hokage. It's nothing but a death sentence. It destroys lives, breaks up homes and destroys lives. Take my advice, kid, give up on that dream of becoming Hokage. She said. Naruto looked at her before looking at Jiraiya. This is the bitch we came to get. He told me that she was a strong kunoichi, not this sorry sad sack. Naruto said. Tsunade's smirk turned into a frown at what the boy called her. You've got a rude little mouth brat. Tsunade said with a tone. I'd rather have a rude mouth than act like some type of victim. Let me guess, you lost someone or ones that you were very close with. I even bet that their goal was to be Hokage. But because they wanted to be Hokage, you think it is the reason they died, and so you think that the title is a death sentence. Sorry, but you're not going to get any sympathy from me just because you lost hope. I'm going to live my dream of becoming Hokage, and when I do, I'll send you a picture of me with the words, kiss it. Naruto told her. That did not sit well with Tsunade. It only infuriated her. You got some balls, kid. You better be careful or I'll take them from you. Tsunade snarled threateningly. Naruto stood on the table and got in her face. You want to go, old lady? We'll go. I just hope that you don't break a hip. Naruto insulted. Tsunade got up and stared at him in the eye. Alright, brat, you want a spanking? I'll give you a spanking. Tsunade said. Jiraiya just sighed at the scene. He just hoped that this didn't get out of control. It only took the two adults 2.5 days to reach the temple of the snake contract. While Anko was feeling great, Iruka looked like death walking on earth. He didn't really get much sleep due to the fact that he had to keep his vigilance against Anko's advancements. Don't get him wrong, Anko was a very beautiful woman, sexy as hell, but she was a little too forward. During their rest stops, she had tried to seduce him at least 10 times. 4 of those times, he caught a really good view of her naked body and she planned those. Iruka let out a yawn and Anko looked at him with a sigh. You know, it isn't my fault that you look like that. I told you we could share the bed. Anko said. You were naked and kept touching me in places that kept me up. Iruka said with a weak frown. Like you weren't happy. Anko said with a smirk and continued on into the temple. Iruka just sighed and popped a food pill in his mouth. They made their way through the temple, avoiding the deadly traps that were placed around the place. They soon made their way to the main chamber and they both let out a happy laugh when they saw the scroll. It was a beautiful looking scroll that looked like it was made of silk. They made their way toward the scroll only to feel something rumbling. From below, 2 snakes appeared and wrapped around the shine that held the scroll. The 2 narrowed their eyes at the 2. So, you have finally arrived. I figured Kaijin or Nagai would have informed you of this scroll. We will not allow you to free Tsuki Anko. You and your friend are about to die. With that, the 2 serpents launched themselves at the 2. You got some balls saying that. She growled. Really? Then why don't you prove it and tell me about your meeting with Orochimaru? Jiraiya demanded. Tsunade tensed up at that but said nothing. She scoffed and made her exit. As she opened the door, Jiraiya spoke once more. Tsunade, if you betray Konoha, I will not hesitate to kill you. I will not make the same mistake with Orochimaru. I will end the Senju line. Tsunade stayed there for a while before walking out. Jiraiya just sighed and entered the room to check on Naruto. Tsunade was walking around the city. She was going in and out of gambling halls, breaking even. Despite that, she was not in a good mood. 3 things bothered her since yesterday. The first was Orochimaru. She didn't trust that snake. He was a silver-tongued traitor who was only out for himself. Did she believe that he could bring back her loved ones? Maybe the cost was something she could not deal with. Or could she? The second was Jiraiya. She didn't know who that guy was, but it wasn't the Jiraiya she knew. The Jiraiya she knew was a fool who was optimistic about the world and always smiling. He also showed her sympathy to her issues. Despite his perversions, she could always count on him. This guy, he was not the idiot she thought. How dare he tell her that she was wrong? How dare he tell her to get over it? If she saw him again, she would launch him out of the city. Lastly, the boy, just thinking about him sent her into a rage. She knew why Jiraiya brought him, but he was not her brother, Naoki. Naoki knew when to be respectful. She was just trying to help him and he threw it in her face. Then he thought he could have fought her and he paid the price. She was not sorry, not even a little bit. If the brat wanted to die, then she would let him. She made her way around when she caught sight of the brat. From what she saw, it looked like he was training. That's when she saw him create a clone. She watched as he and the clone began to form something in his hand. Her eyes widened when she saw what it was. She then watched Naruto charge forward and slam his jutsu into the tree. It grinded deep into the tree before it was over. The kid looked pleased with himself. Hey, that was a good idea. Well, Anko Onisan always said, if you can't do it right, cheat. Naruto said to his clone. What kind of advice is that? Tsunade asked, startling the blondes. When they saw who it was, they both frowned. The clone dispelled, leaving the two blondes alone. What the hell do you want? You come to finish the job? Naruto asked rudely. Tsunade bristled a little but didn't act on her annoyance. You still got a mouth on you, brat. I thought me knocking you senseless would have taught you some respect. Tsunade said. Really? Well, I only respect real shinobi in the Hokage. Since you're neither, why don't you get lost? Don't you have more of you family's wealth you have to give to the casinos? Naruto asked mockingly. Look, brat, I don't care what you think about me. All I see is a loudmouth brat who's all talk and no action. You haven't done anything to gain my respect. You can't even do that jutsu properly. Tsunade said condescendingly. Guess we can agree on something because I feel the same way. I don't care what you think either. So what if I use a clone to do this jutsu? Does it do the same damage as the Undaime? Like Jiraiya? Yes it does, so in your face hag. Naruto said sarcastically. Tsunade clenched her fists. Why did this brat get so under her skin? That's when Naruto continued. Oh, and let's not forget, I just won our little battle last night. One finger my ass. That was it. She had enough of it. Why don't you put your money where your mouth is, brat? Tsunade exclaimed. Naruto just looked at her. You think that you're so great? Then prove it by learning a technique I'm about to show you. You get this within the week and I'll admit that I was wrong. You don't, you get on your knees and apologize to me. I'll even sweeten the deal. I'll give you this necklace. It belongs to my grandfather and is very valuable. Che, fine, I'll take your bet. I'll take that necklace and show it the proper respect it deserves. No need for it to be sold off for some booze. Naruto stated. Tsunade growled and counted backwards from smearing his body across the area. She calmed down and smirked. This was one jutsu that he would not get. Fine, watch my hands. Tsunade said and began to show Naruto the jutsu. It took 3 days for Anko and Iruka to return. They went to the council to report their success. Anko informed them that Tasuki would speak with them tomorrow. After saying goodbye to Iruka, Anko entered the forest of death to summon Tasuki once again. The large serpent looked down at her. Twice you have summoned me. This must be important. Tasuki hissed. I only have 3 things to ask you. The first is, do you require sacrifices like Manda? Anko asked. That seemed to upset her. Absolutely not. Manda is a glutton and an immoral piece of garbage. He does not deserve to be leader of my clan. All one needs to summon me is to be honorable and strong of heart. Tasuki informed. That's good to know. The second is, how many do you have under your leadership? Out of the many, 200 were banished alongside me. Our numbers did grow while we were sealed, so it has doubled in size. Tasuki said. That's a lot. Does that include my 2? Anko asked. Kaijin and Nagai have sworn their loyalty to me. They are protected from Manda's rage. Okay, thank you for that. The final question I have may have to do with the Gamma clan. I know that there is bad blood. It is more than bad blood. Our clans have been at war for years. I have killed my share of toads. I get that, but do you think that you can put it aside? You will be comrade if the council doesn't screw everything you. Besides, this boy that is like family to me kind of wants to sign your contract. He is also the summoner of the Gamma clan. Tasuki looked at Anko before snorting. I make no promises to you, Anko. I will have to see this boy you care about first. Also, it would have to be an agreement on both sides and I do not see that happening. However, I will keep an open mind. Thank you. I will summon you tomorrow. With that said, Tasuki vanished in a puff of smoke. Anko decided that she was tired and went home to get some shut-eye. Jiraiya looked at Naruto as he attempted the jutsu Tsunade showed him. You know that you were suckered in this, right? Jiraiya asked. Just shut up, Arrow Sennin. Naruto growled. He did the hand seals and tried to focus his chakra through his hands. It wasn't like Tsunade's example. He growled and stopped using the jutsu. Jiraiya sighed at his pupil. You're never going to get this down. Medical jutsu requires perfect control of one's chakra. You won't be able to complete it. Jiraiya explained. I'm not giving up. I'll get this jutsu and I'll show that hag. Naruto exclaimed and went back to the jutsu. Jiraiya sighed again, but he had a small smirk on his face. He liked Naruto's determination. He just left the boy to the jutsu and wished him luck. Naruto's clones. The two attacked Kabuto, swiping and kicking at the young man. Shizune joined in the fray. Kabuto snarled as the onslaught continued. Orochimaru looked at the fight that Kabuto was in and narrowed his eyes. When he witnessed the boy use that jutsu, he was very angry. He would deal with Anko personally when he got the chance. He watched as he and Tsunade's assistant worked together to deal with his right-hand man. Kabuto was doing well, but he was getting nailed with several blows. He turned his attention back to Jiraiya, who was standing across from him. So you took that boy on as your apprentice? Is it because he reminds you of you or of your former student? Orochimaru asked mockingly. Why are you so concerned? Are you worried that he might not be the loser than you first thought? I heard about your run-in with him. Jiraiya said with a smirk. Orochimaru smirked back. I will admit that my former student did a good job in training the boy, but it will not amount to nothing. He has nothing but the cutie that makes him special. Now Sasuke, that boy has talent, that boy has growth. With his eyes, he will have unlimited power. He is a genius and I can't wait to savor that power. Orochimaru said while licking his lips. Jiraiya scoffed at him. That's all you ever talk about. The Sharingan this, the Sharingan that, it's getting old. The Sharingan is a tool and it only works when the user of that tool is good at it. Sure, the Uchiha is talented, but it's too easy to train those types. The real challenge are those who only get better through hard work. Those are the types that go on to be something special. Look at him, Orochimaru. It is only through hard work that he has gotten to this level. He'll be something great while your Uchiha will be nothing but a footnote. Jiraiya commented. A difference of opinion then. We will just have to see who is right. Orochimaru said and rushed at Jiraiya. Jiraiya met his charge. Naruto and Shizune was thrown back and skid to a stop. They were both breathing hard as the fight was not really going their way. Okay, he's tougher than I thought. Naruto said and wiped his mouth. Yes, he is quite a challenge. What are we going to do? Shizune asked. I have a plan, but we are going to take some lumps. Naruto said. He quickly did some hand seals and took a breath. Kaden Karyuden. Fire release. Fire dragon bullet, a flame breath shot toward Kabuto. The man looked ready to dodge, but he was grabbed from the ground. Kabuto stabbed the ground to dispel the clone and rolled out of the way. He still got caught by the fire, which annoyed him. He looked up to see a small army of clones. Kabuto scoffed and engaged the clones. He dispelled a few, but he got nicked a few times. He eliminated the clones when several more shot out of the ground. They grabbed and held him down. Kabuto was about to get free when he saw a purple mist come at him at a fast pace. He quickly held his breath as the cloud covered him. Shizune and Naruto waited for Kabuto to come out. That's when Shizune screamed in pain as she felt her weight get heavy. Naruto turned to her just to be struck in the shoulder by Kabuto's glowing hand. Kabuto kicked him away before punting Shizune. Naruto got to his feet, but his shoulder was on fire. He could not feel it and it was painful. He looked up to see Kabuto smirking at him. Well now Naruto, what are you going to do now? As Orochimaru told you, you are out of your depth. Kabuto mocked. You're talking pretty big for a guy who has just recently hit me with a critically blow. I thought I was nothing to you. I thought that you were on Kakashi's level. Naruto countered. Kabuto just chuckled. Have it your way, Kabuto said and charged. Naruto called on a clone and had him help him do hand seals. Kabuto quickly took out the clone and tried to kill Naruto. Naruto ducked under the kunai and hit Kabuto in with a chop. Kabuto immediately felt his leg give out and his eyes were wide with surprise. Naruto didn't stop and struck Kabuto in his other leg and both of his shoulders. Kabuto was like a puppet cut from his strings. He was on his knees and his eyes were still wide. You, how do you know that jutsu? That should be impossible for you. Kabuto explained. Yeah, well I am just that amazing. Now hold still, this is going to hurt a little. Naruto said. Another clone appeared and helped Naruto form a sphere in his hand. With a crazed grin, Naruto thrust it into Kabuto's chest. Rasengan. Naruto couldn't do anything as the jutsu grinded into his gut. He was launched several yards into the air. He did not stop until he hit a boulder. Kabuto leaned against the boulder before dropping to the ground. Naruto was breathing heavy and hissed in pain at his shoulder. He walked over to Tsunade, who was looking at Naruto with shock and amazement. "You owe me a necklace, hag," Naruto said with a grin. Orochimaru looked on with fury at what just happened. While he was pissed that he knew the Tsunade, the fact that he also knew the Chakra no Mesu, Chakra Scalpel, and the Rasengan was something that he could not accept. The boy was getting too strong for his liking. It was time to eliminate him for good. That shouldn't be possible. There was no way you could have done that jutsu. Tsunade said with shock. "Well, I like to show up people all the time," Naruto said with a smirk. Tsunade was just shaking her head in denial. Having enough, Naruto did something that would probably get him killed. He slapped Tsunade. The woman looked on with shock. "Enough of your pity party, lady. You think that you're the only one who has experienced loss? Who breaks down like you did? Do you think that they would be proud of how you are acting? Why don't you grow a pair and start remembering them by being the kunoichi that you used to be?" Tsunade's eyes were wide after that tongue lashing. Naruto's words cut at her like a knife. She looked down with shame after it. That's when Naruto immediately felt someone coming behind him. He turned only to be run through with a sword. Tsunade's eyes got wider when she saw Naruto run through with Orochimaru's sword. "Naruto, pervert," Anko asked. "We had issues but we got the job done. I ignored him for most of the trip. I did the same with the old lady but I've warmed up to her somewhat. Shizune is the best out of all of them. Ran into your sensei. He tried to kill me but got his kick. That's pretty much the life of Naruto. What about you?" Naruto asked. "Well, took Iruka out on the mission. He kept playing hard to get. Arrived at the temple, had to fight 2 large snakes. Met Tsuki. She nearly crushed me but she accepted me and saved my 2 personal summons. Brought her to the village, introduced to the higher ups and now, the village has the snake contract." That's pretty much the life of Anko. Anko answered. "So, we kicked ass?" Naruto asked. "Oh, we kicked ass," Anko answered with a grin. The 2 fist bumped before falling into a comfortable conversation. At the same time in Ruchido, Dragon Ground Cave, a long roar was vibrating throughout the cave. 2 serpents were sent slamming into the wall. The 2 cowered before the gaze of Manda. "You fools, how could you allow her to escape?" Manda roared. "We're sorry, Manda Dono," one of them said. Manda was about to crush them when Orochimaru's voice caught his attention. "I do not like being summoned here, Manda." The snake boss turned and glared hard at the man. "It is because of you that we are in this situation. I should have killed that girl when I had the chance," Manda shouted. Orochimaru looked confused, only enraging him more. "Your student has freed Tsuki." "Tsuki, I don't believe we have had the pleasure of meeting," Orochimaru said smoothly. "Then she would have killed you. She hates you more than I. She demanded, that I cut ties with you. I should have listened. Now, your village has a strong ally. Are you actually afraid, Manda? The Saikyo no Uehebi, strongest colossal serpent, is actually afraid." The man mocked. "Do not mock me. Should Tsuki find her worthy, she can teach her senjutsu." Manda roared. Orochimaru lost his smile. This amused the serpent. "Yes, Tsuki can give her the power to kill you. How does it make you feel? Know that this is your fault. Now leave." Orochimaru ignored the attitude and left. He needed to get some information. Back in Konoha, as the 2 conversed, Naruto remembered the reason that Anko went for the contract. "Hey, what did your boss say about me signing the contract?" Naruto asked. "Tsuki is willing but she stresses that the snakes and toads are enemies. It's all on you now. If you can convince your boss into a meeting, then maybe it is possible." Anko said. "Okay, I try and talk to Gamabunta. Say, can't you just give Iruka-sensei a break? He's kind of jumpy." Naruto said. "You know, the way he acts, I'm going to start thinking that he doesn't like me." Anko pouted. "You broke into his place and used his shower. Then you refused to cover yourself when he found you." Naruto explained. "Please, he loved it. The little man in his pants did," Anko said with a grin. Naruto just groaned and pinched the bridge of his nose. Weeks passed and Tsunade settled into her role as Hokage. The Jonin easily chose her and she went right to work. She dealt with some people at the hospital, including Kakashi and Sasuke. She read reports and files them by importance.
Resources
She
here.
also dealt with the Suna situation and the alliance was still there. In all, Tsunade was doing a good job. Today, she was in her office, facing two genin. Their sensei were there to see the ceremony. Due to watching the video, the recommendations of the judges and reports from several other shinobi, I am proud to announce that Nara Shikamaru and Uzumaki Naruto have been promoted to Chunin. Congratulations, you two. Shikamaru groaned but was elbowed forward by Naruto. The two were presented with their vests. Tsunade was amused by Naruto's antics. She continued to talk. With this position, I will be expecting much more from you two. Wear those vests with pride. You are all dismissed with the exception of you, Kakashi. There are some things that we need to talk about. Tsunade said. Everyone filed out, Naruto shouting, Yahoo, along the way. Now alone, Tsunade's amusement vanished. She gave Kakashi a serious look. She then pulled out a folder. About a week ago, I was looking into your student, Haruno Sakura. I was very interested in her treatment of Rock Lee. The girl has some skill with what little she has learned and it is very hard to impress me. I was very surprised to see that she was removed due to mental anguish because it did not look that way to me. I spoke to Mitsune and she explained everything to me. She also gave me her folder. Tsunade said, putting her hands on the folder. I am happy that she has recovered but I am disturbed by what Mitsune wrote down. What exactly did she write? Kakashi asked curiously. She is recommending that I remove her from your leadership. In fact, she recommends that I disband your whole team and truthfully, I am considering it. Tsunade said, are you seriously considering that? Is it just because I did not speak to Sakura after her first kill? Kakashi demanded, it's more than just that. Mitsune believes that Sakura will not grow under your command. Mitsune credits Naruto for her growth of skill, not you. She even thinks that the hospital staff are better teachers than you. Besides the tree climbing exercise, you have not taught the girl anything. Tsunade commented, ma'am, I was just trying to deal with Sasuke. Unlike the other two, he has the most reason to leave the village. Kakashi explained, so you gave the Uchiha everything just to soothe his ego? Tsunade asked, to keep him loyal. Kakashi countered, that is the stupidest reason I have ever heard. If Sasuke has a loyalty problem, then he will face the same consequences as any unloyal ninja. All I hear from you are excuses for your favoritism. At least my sensei had the stones to admit his mistakes when it came to his team. Tsunade said harshly. The comment made Kakashi angry but Tsunade didn't care. She put the folder away before looking at Kakashi. From now on, your team is disbanded. Sasuke is being suspended due to him leaving the village without permission. It will only be for 2 months. Sakura, I am assigning her to Shadow Shizune for a while. Naruto is going to be placed in the main forces for a while. Those two can use the experience. Should I reform your team, I will do it under someone else as you have proven unreliable for the job. That's my ruling. You're dismissed. Kakashi quickly left the office, leaving Tsunade to her work. She really didn't care that Kakashi was angry or if his feeling were hurt. He needed to see that he was a failure as a teacher and move forward. She ignored it for now and turned back to her work. She was searching for a way to increase a young genin's chances of survival. Training, Naruto said confidently. Naruto stepped forward and was about to bit into his thumb when someone appeared. Naruto was startled by who it was. Sasuke. The two females walked up to Naruto and saw that it was indeed Sasuke. However, the three were on edge as Sasuke gave Naruto a very dark and menacing glare. They watched as he walked up to them, his fist clenching and unclenching. The Sharingan was piercing right at Naruto, which made him uneasy. Naruto prepared himself just in case. What's wrong with you? Naruto asked. Fight me, Sasuke demanded loudly. That surprised the three. What? I said, fight me. First off, I would watch the attitude. Secondly, why would I fight you? You seem to be very angry with me for some reason. Naruto said, you think you're so great. You think just because you brought back that woman to be Hokage and she promoted you, that you're so great. You're nothing. I don't care if you're a Chunin. You are still a know-nothing dead last. Sasuke exclaimed loudly. His rant was very shocking to them. Are you actually jealous? Naruto asked surprised. Sasuke glared at him harder. Holy shit, he is. Enough. Fight me, Sasuke, you need to calm down. We can talk about this. Sakura said, trying to be peacekeeper. Shut up, no one is talking to you. Sasuke spat. Sakura glared at him for his attitude. However, I am talking and you need to calm down. She shouted at him. You are threatening someone of higher rank and there are consequences. Yes, Naruto reached Chunin but he earned it. If you want to act like a spoiled child to do it alone. Sakura turned to Naruto. Come on Naruto, we can do this another time. I agree with Sakura. Let's go. Hinata added. Yeah, we can do this later. Naruto said. The trio decided to leave. This only enraged Sasuke further and he went through hand seals. Kaden. Gokaku no Jutsu. Fire release. Great fireball technique, Sasuke roared and launched a large ball of fire. The three turned around to see the attack coming at them. Naruto was quick to come out of his shock to do his own jutsu. Suiten. Tsukinheki. Water release. Water wall, Naruto shouted and spat out a large torrent of water. It formed a wall of water and drowned Sasuke's fireball. There was a little steam that cleared out quickly. Naruto stopped his jutsu only for Sasuke to come at him. Naruto blocked the punch and redirected it. He jumped and planted both of his feet into Sasuke's chest. Sasuke was sent flying and hit the ground with a thud. Naruto was quick to his feet with a pop-up. He quickly checked his two friends. You guys alright? Naruto asked urgently. Why yeah, I am fine. Hinata answered. I'm okay Naruto. Sakura answered as well. The two joined him as they looked at Sasuke who was slowly getting up. Naruto glared at Sasuke and took off his coat. You two need to go. It's me he wants, it's me he'll get. Naruto said. What? We can't leave you. Hinata exclaimed. Hinata is right. Sasuke has gone off the deep end. He's going to kill you. Sakura added. This is not up for debate. I am ordering you two get out of here. I'll hold him off until you get help. Naruto shouted. Well, I'm ignoring your order dummy. Sakura said and faced Sasuke. Hinata did the same, making Naruto sigh. Fine but back me up. Naruto said. The three prepared themselves as Sasuke glared at them. I'm going to break you loser. I'm going to have you laying at my feet broken. Sasuke spat loudly. We'll see about that, Naruto said. The two roared and charged at each other, Sakura and Hinata following behind him. It's fine, I've got time. I just really had a good sales pitch for the boss. There was no way he could have refused. Naruto explained. Hinata looked at Naruto and narrowed her eyes a bit. It doesn't I include robbing Tsunade-sama Sake's stash? Hinata asked accusingly. Naruto suddenly got nervous, confirming her suspicions. The heiress just sighed at her friend. Why you do realize she would have killed you if she ever found out? She would have to catch me first. The only ninja in this village who can claim fame to that is Iruka-sensei. Naruto muttered. So, how's your home life? I don't need to do anything to Neji, do I? No, you don't need to cut you up Neji. She said with a giggle. Life has improved. Father sees value in my development again. Myself and Hanabi are getting along, although she still thinks you're a bad influence. Why does she hate me? I didn't do anything to her. He said defensively. You did set Konohamaru on her. Oh come on, she's still angry about that. The prank was not that bad. You dumped sap on her. Then there is the fact that you got Konohamaru hurt. It was funny. Forgive me for having a sense of humor. Besides, Konohamaru will grow stronger from it. The two shared a laugh before changing the subject. It wouldn't be long before they were close to the Hyuga compound. Well, this is as far as I'm going. Hinata hit Naruto with frown that was more like a pout. You're being ridiculous. My father does not have it out for you. Hinata argued. I can feel eyes on me Hinata, from a distance. It's either one of your clan members, Neji or the destroyer himself. I remember the look he gave me after the invasion. It promises pain and suffering. Naruto argued back. My father has nothing against you. What would be his reason? Hinata asked with annoyance. Maybe it's a father thing. You see how Ino's dad acts sometimes. It's kinda weird that he does that with only boys, but maybe that's a thing with dads. I trust my gut on this one, Naruto said with his stubborn tone. Hinata just sighed and knew that it was the end of things. That's when something happened that she did not expect. Naruto wrapped her up in a hug. Hinata was surprised by this and blushing at the contact. I'm glad that you're okay Hinata-chan and thanks for having my back today. Hinata relaxed a bit and her blush lessened. Anytime Naruto-kun, Hinata said. The two broke apart and smiled at each other. Naruto took off, jumping from roof to get home while a still blushing Hinata watched. Unknown to either of them, they were being watched by a pair of Byakugan eyes. While he didn't have too much of an issue with the blonde, he was a bit too forward when he hugged his daughter. It seems that he would have to increase his intimidation of the boy. He would be meeting with Inoichi very soon for ideas. Sasuke laid in his bed, angry at everything that had happened. He would glare at the Anbu watching him as well as anyone who came in that room. He refused to have any of the nurses check on him, spitting at them or shouting at them if they got close. That bitch of a Hokage had returned a few hours ago to tell him that she was going through with her promise. He hadn't cared at all about it as he was officially done with the village. They were holding him back while others like Naruto and Shikamaru were getting strength that they didn't deserve. If she thought that he would take this lying down, she would be sadly mistaken. His thoughts were interrupted by a knock on the door. The Anbu opened the door to reveal his former masked sensei. The Anbu then stepped out of the room, leaving the two alone. "What do you want, Kakashi?" Sasuke growled. "If you're here to lecture me, then you have wasted your time. I can see that now. I'm not here to lecture you, Sasuke, but I do have one question. Was it worth it?" Kakashi asked. "What are you talking about?" Sasuke demanded. "You were the village's golden boy, praised by everyone for your exceptional skills, named Rookie of the Year, gained your Sharingan, personally trained by me, and despite all the advantages you gained, you resorted to a petty, one-sided rivalry with Naruto. You allowed Naruto's success and growth get to you to the point that you would use my own original jutsu to attempt to kill him and, probably, Hinata and Sakura. So I'll ask again, was it worth it, Sasuke?" Kakashi asked again. "You want to hear me say that I regret my actions? That I was wrong in what I did? Well, you've wasted your time. I don't care what you think about my actions, I don't regret them. What I do regret is trusting in you because I'm not as strong as I should be. And you sucked as a sensei who did not give me the power I needed to kill Itachi. All your talks were just that, talk. You're a failure, Hitaki, and I want you to know that." Sasuke spat loudly. "Disappointing. I guess, that's all I wanted to know." Kakashi started to leave but stopped to give Sasuke one more message. "You know, for all your hate toward Itachi, you sure are following his path." Sasuke activated his Sharingan and glared at Kakashi with hatred. It did not affect Kakashi, who just watched out of the door. "I will get out of here. My ambition will not be silenced by you, Naruto, or the bitch. I will get my revenge on all of you. I swear it," Sasuke shouted. Kakashi just kept walking. "Group of 4 in their strength, I would suggest a team of Jonin for this mission." Shikamaru said seriously. "That isn't going to happen. All available Jonin are out on missions. So are all available Chunin. You two are the only Chunin I have that is available. Your mission is to gather a team and get after Sasuke. You are to capture and bring him back, or you make sure that Orochimaru does not gain the Sharingan. You better hurry up. Sasuke has about 8 hours on you." "Dismissed," Tsunade said. The two bowed and made their way out. "This is really troublesome. So all we have are Genin." Shikamaru muttered. "As much as I would mock you right now, we don't have the time. What we need for this team are 2 trackers and some muscle." "I have my choice of trackers," Naruto said. "I know someone with some muscle. Get your guys and I'll get mine. We meet up at the gates in 30 minutes. Shikamaru said. "Full load out, Shikamaru. We need to be prepared for what we're about to face," Naruto warned. Shikamaru nodded and the two were off. 30 minutes later found the two standing in front of their chosen members. Naruto picked up Kiba and Akamaru first before finding Neji, who was with Lee. Shikamaru instantly went for his teammate Choji. Now that they were gathered, Naruto got everyone's attention. "Alright, listen up guys. We are on the clock. As of last night, Sasuke Uchiha left the village. We believe that he had help from ninja that answered to Orochimaru. We are going on the assumption that he willingly went with these guys. Our mission is to either capture Sasuke or make sure that Sasuke doesn't get to Orochimaru. Do you understand what that means?" Naruto asked them. The 3 genin and 1 dog looked at Naruto with serious glances. "Okay, let's get the formation down and let's get going," Shikamaru said. The group quickly explained what the formation was. After a minute explaining, the 5 shinobi and 1 dog rushed through the gates. They had a prisoner to retrieve. Tsunade looked at the bodies and narrowed her eyes. She was not pleased by what she saw. By just observing the body, she knew that whoever Orochimaru sent did not kill these Anbu. Upon closer observation, she was able to find out one of the Anbu attacked the others. She found defensive wounds on one of the bodies. The one who attacked then killed themselves with his blade. This only served to annoy her more. She knew these men and she knew that they would never attack each other. Someone or something must have caused this, and the only reason that happened was to give whoever infiltrated easy access to Sasuke. She had a traitor within the village. She had to find out who it was, or else to do even more damage to the village. Sasuke looked at the four ninja with untrusting eyes. They had made good time from the village, but they decided to stop. That's when Sakin told him that they needed to finish increasing the power of the 10 no Juin. They then unsealed a large barrel that had several seals around it. That's when Sakin held out a black pill and explained what needed to happen in order for him to reach the next stage. It was the reason that Sasuke was so untrusting. So, this will kill me and only through death will I gain my new power. Sasuke asked. Yes, only through this method will you gain that power. Sakin answered. Sasuke looked at the pill before swallowing. If he had to die to gain the power to gain his vengeance, then so be it. To Yuya, Sakin and Kidomaru flew through the trees. They didn't slow down so their comrade could catch up. They didn't have to, as they felt someone coming up on them. It's about time you caught up, fat ass. Yuya cursed, turning to face him only to get punched in the face by Kiba. The other two turned around only to be bombarded by clones of Naruto, descending on them. The amount of clones surprised them and they had trouble fighting them off. One clone managed to separate the barrel from Sakin and toss it to Kiba. I got it, Kiba shouted and started to run away. Not so fast, asshole, Yuya shouted and chased after him. She caught up and kicked Kiba hard, forcing him to drop the barrel. Lucky for him, Shikamaru caught it and took off. Yuya was annoyed and prepared to chase after it only for Neji to appear. She was immediately on the defensive as Neji attacked her. Kidomaru charged after Shikamaru and spat out webbing at him. Shikamaru got hit and was restrained to a tree. Akamaru, transformed as Kiba, attempted to cut him off, but Kidomaru saw him and trapped him in the webbing as well. The original Naruto moved quickly to retrieve the barrel but had to dodge as Kidomaru fired more webbing to stop him. Naruto countered with several shuriken but he couldn't hit him. Kidomaru appeared and retrieved the barrel. He joined back up with Yuya and Sakin, who had just finished off the last clone. These guys are really starting to piss me off. Yuya spat. I think the game has gotten more interesting. Kidomaru said with a smirk. He tossed the barrel to Sakin and turned his attention to the remaining three. You go on. I'm going to play with them a little. The two did not waste time and took off. Kidomaru looked at the remaining three before jumping into the trees. Naruto, Neji and Kiba were on edge as they looked for him. Kiba was the first to figure his position from smell. He quickly rushed to the area to take him out. Kiba, wait, Naruto shouted. Don't sweat it, he won't escape my nose. Kiba shouted and rotated. Kidomaru just smirked and spat out his webbing. Kiba was covered in the webbing like a cocoon. He slammed into the side of the tree with a thud. Naruto launched some shuriken but he missed. Neji activated his Byakugan and could see where Kidomaru was moving. He's trying to outflank us, Neji said. Naruto pulled out some smoke bombs and threw them on the ground. Kidomaru saw this and smiled. Smart, you two are playing the game better than I thought, Kidomaru said. He looked at the smoke and waited for it to clear. He knew that they weren't in the smoke anymore, but he pretended that they were. He was surprised when several figures jumped out of the smoke. Kidomaru saw that they were clones of the blonde. He rapidly spat out webbing at the clones. He managed to catch them all, but they all turned out to be clones. Kaden, Ruka no Jutsu. Fire release. Dragon fire technique, Naruto shouted as flames came at Kidomaru from below. He dodged the flame but he found himself open to Neji's attack. Neji got into a familiar stance. Hake Rokujuyun Sho, 8 trigrams 64 palms, Neji shouted and blasted Kidomaru with his jutsu. Kidomaru could not defend and was sent flying into the side of the tree. He laid on the branch, unmoving. Neji turned to help Naruto, who was trying to free Shikamaru. He still had his Byakugan on and saw that there was chakra running through them. He was able to use his Juken to cut through the webbing. Shikamaru and Akamaru were quickly freed while it took a while for Kiba. He dropped to the ground when freed from his cocoon. Alright, let's get ready to move. The other two could not have gotten far, Naruto said. And leave so soon. Everyone turned to see Kidomaru stand up. That's when they saw pieces of skin fall off him. Kidomaru was grinning like a madman at the group. We don't have time for this. We need to get past him, Naruto snarled. That's when Neji stepped forward. I will face him, he said. I don't like this. Their strength might be reducing but so is ours. Shikamaru stated. True, but we don't have the time to consider things. Sasuke gets farther away and we cannot allow Orochimaru to gain the Sharingan. This is something you know. Do not worry. Against my Byakugan, he will not defeat me. Neji said, I get what you're saying Shikamaru, but he's right. We can't let Orochimaru get the Sharingan. Naruto added. Shikamaru growled but he nodded. Naruto, Kiba, Akamaru and Shikamaru left Neji to face off against Kidomaru. The six-armed ninja couldn't wait to get started. Anko arrived at the Hokage Tower to report her mission's success. As she walked the halls and made her way to the Hokage's office, she caught sight of the one-eyed Jonin going in the same direction. She really didn't want to wait for him, so she sped up in order to get to the office first. She would have made it if it wasn't for the people in the building bumping into her. She wondered what the emergency was, but she missed her chance to get to the office first. That's when a nervous Shizune came out of the office. Upon seeing Kakashi and Anko, she got even more nervous. Hey Shizune, you okay? Anko asked. Why yes, I'm alright. I'm just surprised to see you both here. Shizune said with a nervous laugh. Both Jonin were not interested in what had her so nervous. Before either of them could interrogate her, the door to the office opened again and Tsunade stepped out. Seeing the two and her nervous apprentice, Tsunade grew frustrated. She gave Shizune a look of disapproval before looking at the two. Come in and close the door. Tsunade ordered. The two entered the office and Kakashi closed the door. The two stood in front of the desk as Tsunade took a seat. She gave both of them a serious look. Sasuke Uchiha has escaped. What? Anko exclaimed. Kakashi was just as surprised. His Anbu guard was found dead and he was let out of the village. An investigation is ongoing as of this moment, she explained. Has a team been sent to retrieve him? Kakashi asked. Yes, a team was dispatched to retrieve her and deal with Sasuke. The team leaders are Naruto Uzumaki and Shikamaru Nara. They formed a team and left a couple hours ago. They are, most likely, facing members of Orochimaru's elite. Anko immediately turned around and bolted out of the office. Kakashi looked at Tsunade, who just nodded at him. Kakashi vanished, leaving Tsunade to sigh. Anko was out of the tower and on her way to the gate. She was moving fast, hoping to catch up to that team. She was near the gate when Kakashi appeared. Get the hell out of my way, Kakashi. Anko shouted. Calm down, Anko. I'm not here to stop you. Kakashi stated calmly. Biting into his thumb, he smeared blood onto his palm. He did some hand seals. Kuchio's no jutsu, summoning technique. Kakashi's hounds appeared before them. With a hand motion, the hounds scattered. Kakashi just stood still while Anko narrowed her eyes at him. Just what is your game here? Anko demanded. Just going to correct a mistake. Kakashi answered. A howl alerted the two and they took off. Body replacement, to escape. He appeared before a group of clones who tried to rush him. Unagi no Mai, Dance of the Willow. The group of clones gasped as they felt themselves being pierced from bones. They all were dispelled, and they saw that bones were coming out of Kimamaru's knees, elbows, hands and feet. Naruto was just in shock at what he was seeing. Shit, this must be his Kekkei Genkai, bloodline lineage. It's not one I know about. That must mean he's the last of them. Shit, I don't think I'll be able to deal with him. I need to grab the barrel and jet. Naruto thought. The other clones prepared themselves as Kimamaru retracted his bones. He then had a bone come out of his shoulder. He grabbed it and pulled it out. Naruto saw that it was sword. He looked at the army of clones, looking briefly at the barrel. He saw black smoke coming out of it. It is almost time, Kimamaru thought. That's when he noticed the movement of the clones. He quickly charged forward, destroying a few clones before appearing in front of the barrel. Naruto cursed, but it did not deter his attacks. The clones engaged with Kimamaru and tried to get around him. The teen was taking out clones left and right using his taijutsu and sword. However, he did not expect an attack from below as a few clones managed to get by him and got the barrel. They landed and started to run. Kimamaru was about to give chase, but he got surrounded by the clones. He wasn't happy, but that changed when there was an explosion. Naruto watched as his clones were dispelled by the force of the explosion. A thick smoke came from the broken barrel. Naruto watched it clear to reveal Sasuke only. He looked much differently. His skin was gray, and his hair looked longer. He could see Sasuke look at his hands and body. The thing that worried Naruto was the vile chakra that was coming off him. It reminded him of the Chunin exam, only stronger. Sasuke began to laugh, probably at the power he just received. He then ran off, heading toward the border. Naruto and a few clones were about to pursue when Kimimaro got in his way. I'm sorry that I can't allow you to pass. That boy will be vessel that I could not. He spoke. Vessel, Naruto asked. It makes not sense for me to explain it to you. You will be dead long before it happens. Kimimaro said. He moved forward to kill Naruto. Naruto and his clones prepared to fight. Sakura was making her way to check on Lee. She was now a member of the hospital and she enjoyed it. With her team disbanded, she had to do something with her time. Lucky for her, Shizune came to her and asked if she would like to learn some advanced jutsu. Sakura jumped at the chance and she was shadowing the Jonin. It didn't hurt that she was making a little more Ryu working at the hospital. As she neared the room, she came upon Shizune and Tsunade. Shizune-sensei, Hokage-sama, Sakura asked. The two looked at her when they were called. That's when a third person poked his head out. Guy-sensei, what's going on? You're patient. Tsunade growled out. Decided to chase after the team I sent after Sasuke. He managed to escape the hospital and left the village without notice. What? He's not at 100% yet. Even with the medicine, he won't be at full strength. Sakura shouted. She rushed into the room and saw his empty bed. That's when she also saw the medicine bottle. That idiot, he didn't even take the medicine. That got the adults' attention and they also noticed the bottle. They couldn't believe that Lee could be so thoughtless. That was until Tsunade remembered something. Son of A, the brat took my sake. Tsunade said. Tsunade-sama, how could you bring sake in a hospital? Shizune argued. Hey, I've had a stressful day alright. I needed. Guy, why are you looking like that? She asked. The females looked at Guy who had the face of a man who was terrified. Oh no, not alcohol. Anything but that, Guy said with worry. What are you talking about? Why is alcohol bad for Lee? Sakura asked. After my team's first mission, I treated my team. Lee accidentally took a sip of sake, thinking that it was water. It took me, Neji and Tenten to put him down. The destruction he caused to the place was frightening. We discovered that Lee is a natural user of the Suiken's drunken fist. He is nearly unstoppable if he's intoxicated. Guy explained. All three women were in shock at this. Meanwhile, Kimimaro was sent flying and hit the ground hard. He struggled to get up and looked at the person in front of him. What kind of monster are you? Kimimaro sneered. Lee just hiccuped and let out a loud roar. Sasuke landed near the waterfall. He looked at the statues of the Shodai, first Hokage and his ancestor, Uchiha Madara. He knew about this place from the academy. Shumatsu no Tani, Valley of the End, the final battle between these two shinobi. Their battle is what shaped this place from what the stories say. No one really knew what happened that day, but the two statues were created to memorialize the battle. Sasuke was about to leave when a kunai stopped him from moving forward. He looked at the kunai before turning to face the one who threw it. Naruto looked at Sasuke and was stunned by what he saw. One of Sasuke's eyes looked too much like Orochimaru's. Sasuke saw this and smirked at him. Are you shocked, Dobi? Are you stunned by the power I now possess? Sasuke asked mockingly. Naruto lost his surprise and got serious. I'm shocked at how low you've sunk. So, because the village isn't kissing you anymore, you decide to go rude. How pathetic have you really become that you would accept the easy way? Naruto asked. Call it what you want. Sasuke said and closed his eyes. When he opened them, it was back to normal. This is the power I need to achieve my ambitions. When I arrive to Orochimaru, he will give me even more power. And giving yourself to be his vessel will be worth it, right? Just as long as you get to kill your brother. How did that work out the last time? Naruto asked mockingly. Sasuke narrowed his eyes. I've always hated your mocking. Every insult you sent my way was an insult to my pride. Every time you passed me was an insult to me as a shinobi. You were a nobody who was pitied by that Kunoichi. You should be below me and it looks like I get the chance to prove it. Sasuke said. He picked up the kunai that was at his feet and readied himself. Well, good to know that my existence wounded you so. It's going to make it all that much better after I stomp you out and drag you back to be judged. So, what is it going to be? Easy way or hard way? Naruto asked. Sasuke got into his stance. Naruto pulled out two kunai and got into a stance. Hard way it is. Kunai back. He grabbed his other wrist and began to apply pressure. Sasuke watched with shock and pain as Naruto removed his hand around his throat. Naruto's strength surprised Sasuke and looked at the blonde. He could see that his eyes were now slitted and red. whisker marks were more pronounced, and his nails were digging into his skin. Naruto growled at him as he forced Sasuke to his knees. Sasuke was looking up at Naruto. What are you? I'm the guy who is about to beat your ass. Naruto growled. Releasing one of Sasuke's wrists, Naruto drilled Sasuke in the jaw. The force of the punch created huge splash and sent Sasuke deep underwater. Sasuke tried to get control of himself only to be attacked by Naruto's clones. Sasuke quickly swam to the surface and burst out. He landed on the surface and skid to stop. He was waiting for an attack from below only to be attacked to his left. Naruto battered Sasuke with punches and kicks. One kick sent Sasuke toward the statue of Madara. He crashed near its feet and struggled to get up. What's matter, Sasuke? You were talking big a minute ago. Naruto spat. Don't talk down to me. Sasuke shouted and charged at Naruto, his Sharingan blazing. Naruto met his charge and the two met in the middle of the waterfall. They began to throw punches and kicks at each other. Naruto was getting the better of the two as he used the huggy, snake style. Sasuke was too angry to use the full power of his Sharingan. All he wanted to do was destroy the blonde in front of him. The exchange ended when the two punched each other. Naruto was the first to recover and uppercut Sasuke away. Sasuke rolled on the water and came to a stop by the base of the Madara statue. Naruto was breathing hard and tried to recover quickly. Sasuke got to his knees and glared at Naruto. He was breathing just as hard and his anger continued to grow. Naruto should be nothing to him. A loser who played pranks for attention and shouted about being Hokage. He got lucky when he met that bitch, Anko. The same bitch that Orochimaru rejected and who gave her the power he was now wielding. So why was he so damn weak? He looked at Naruto with fury. His Sharingan was blazing and bore into the blonde. It was then that he saw something within the blonde. It was a second chakra source. What was that chakra? He didn't care about that now. All that mattered was killing Naruto. Sasuke did hand seals and activated the Chidori. Seeing this, Naruto created a clone to help him form the Rasengan. Once the two jutsu were ready, the two charged at each other. They were in each other's face when they thrust their attacks forward. Chidori, Rasengan. The two attacks clashed, pushing the water away. Sasuke tried hard to beat Naruto's jutsu, but his Chidori could not penetrate it. After a while, the two jutsu canceled each other out, sending the two flying away from each other. They crashed into the feet of Madara and Hashirama. Sasuke struggled to his feet and so did Naruto. Both could feel that they were on their last legs. Naruto stood up and took a couple of breaths, the Kyuubi's chakra fading. Are you ready to surrender, Sasuke? I don't know about you, but I can keep going. Naruto said with ragged breaths. Sasuke was looking at Naruto with hatred. He had to clench his hands so that it would stop shaking. That jutsu of Naruto's was so much stronger than his. What irked him more was that he couldn't copy it. Why was this happening? Why couldn't he kill this nobody? I need more chakra. I need more power. Give me more power. Sasuke screamed in his mind. The marks began to move across his face and body. Naruto watched as Sasuke began to transform. His hair got longer and was turning gray. His skin was also turning gray. The chakra pouring out of him was powerful. Well, that's going to be a problem. Naruto said to himself. Need my help, brat? The Kyuubi asked. You offering? Not complaining, but I don't trust you and I know you don't like me. Naruto thought. True, but I hate those eyes. Also, he kills you, he'll kill me. That damn Yondaime fourth did this seal well. Good point. How much of your chakra are you going to allow me to use? Enough for you to finish this fight. However, it will not last long due to your injuries and it will hurt a lot. The Kyuubi said with humor. Funny, just get on with it. Naruto spat. A surge of chakra exploded out of Naruto, causing him to scream. Naruto roared in pain as red chakra began to encase him. Sasuke watched as the chakra took form. He continued to watch as Naruto dropped on all fours. The chakra took the shape of an animal, complete with ears and a tail. What the hell is that chakra? It looks alive, Sasuke said to himself. He ignored it as a roar alerted him to Naruto, who was running toward him. Kaden. Ruka no Jutsu, Dragon Fire Technique. Sasuke roared and fired a huge flame at Naruto. Naruto took a deep breath before letting out a huge roar. The roar blew and snuffed out the flame. Sasuke had to cover his eyes to block the spraying water. Naruto was in Sasuke's area and threw a punch that Sasuke dodged. However, he was still hit when that red chakra moved on its own and gave him 3 claw marks on his cheek. Sasuke quickly got some distance and fired several balls of fire at Naruto. The blonde dodged the attacks, running up Madara's statue. Naruto got above Sasuke, who was running up the waterfall. He let out another roar that sent Sasuke flying toward the bottom. Sasuke suddenly sprouted wings from his back and used it to stop himself. Naruto reared his arm back and threw it forward, launching a large chakra claw at Sasuke. With a flash, Sasuke rocketed up to the top of the waterfall. Naruto quickly followed and reached the top. Sasuke landed on Hashirama's statue while Naruto stood on Madara's statue. The two glared at each other. Both boys were breathing hard. Sasuke could feel his chakra getting low and Naruto's body was screaming in pain from using the Kyuubi's chakra. They knew that this would be their final attack. Sasuke did the hand seals for the Chidori while Naruto held out his palm. Sasuke's Chidori was screeching while the Rasengan began to form. Sasuke poured all his chakra into the Chidori, turning it black. The lightning was deafening, but it did not worry Naruto. His purple Rasengan was really to go. The two glared at each other. I'm going to kill you, Naruto. I'm going to finish you and you will be nothing more than a bad memory. Sasuke spat. Take your best shot, Uchiha. Naruto exclaimed. Sasuke roared and flew at Naruto. Naruto launched at Sasuke. They met in the middle and thrust their attacks at each other. Chidori, Rasengan. The two jutsu collided, creating an explosion of chakra. The two attacks encased the two in a black sphere, pushing water away and destroying pieces of the statue. The sphere began to break apart, showering the area in a bright light. Kakashi and Anko saw the light and could feel the chakra from where they were. The two Jonin picked up the pace. They were worried about what was going on. I don't get why we are having this conversation either. The kid needs to get stronger, and I am asking permission to take him out of the village to do that. Why is this such a big deal? Jiraiya argued. Because you are refusing to tell me what you are planning to teach the boy. For some reason, Anko believes that your focus will be training Naruto in using the Kyuubi, Nine Tails chakra. Tsunade explained. Well yeah, he needs to be able to use its chakra. He stated. Do you even know how? Tsunade asked. Jiraiya scratched his cheek and chuckled nervously. Do you ever think first? You have no knowledge of how to train a Jinchuriki. The only ones who have succeeded in fully controlling their Jinchuriki are from Kurigakure, Hidden Mist, and Kumogakure, Hidden Cloud. Do you have access to their training methods? Is I willing to help you? Why are you judging me about this? Do you not trust me to make the brat strong enough to face the Akatsuki? Jiraiya demanded with a hard tone. I trust you, but you are being reckless. You have no understanding of how to train him with something that he is unwilling to use. You trained the Yondaime, fourth. He might have been a prodigy, but he needed help. Are you telling me that you can't do so with Naruto? Naruto is much different than the Yondaime. That's a weak excuse because Anko certainly didn't have a problem in training him to the current level. Hearing that, Jiraiya's eyes narrowed. So, it's Anko who is complaining about me. So, you're just going to take her worries and not see the bigger picture. It was now Tsunade's turn to narrow her eyes. I am because she has a point. If you cannot train Naruto in anything else but the Kyuubi's chakra, then I will not allow you to have him. That's the deal, Jiraiya. You teach Naruto to be a shinobi, or I will find someone who will. The two teammates looked at each other with hard looks. Jiraiya let out a frustrated huff before nodding at her. He took his leave, vanishing in a puff of smoke. Tsunade let out a sigh and cut her thumb. She smeared her blood and did the seals for the Kuchio's no jutsu summoning technique. A blue and white slug appeared before her. Tsunade-sama, how may I be of service? I need you to get in touch with Gamabunta, Katsuyu. I have a message to deliver. Tsunade said. It took a week for Naruto to leave the hospital. While he was in there, Tsunade and Jiraiya had come to him to tell him about his training mission. They said that he would have to leave the village for 2.5 years to be ready for the Akatsuki. Based on what Ero Sennin said, the group were going silent for a while. He agreed to go, but he did notice that there was tension between the two and couldn't help but wonder why. He was packing his things and getting stuff in order when he heard a knock at his door. He made his way to the front and opened the door. He was surprised to see Kakashi. Oh, hey Kakashi, can I help you with something? He asked. No, I just came to give you something for your trip. The truth is, I am not worthy of it, and I think that it would help you better than me. Kakashi said and pulled out a kunai that made Naruto look at it with wonder. It had 3 blades on it, and it looked cool. Kakashi handed him the kunai, which Naruto began to twirl it around. The handle is a little thicker than I'm used to. What's the markings for? Naruto asked. Oh, it's just a special seal. Anyway, good luck on your training. Kakashi said and turned to leave. Hey Kakashi, Naruto said. The Jonin stopped to look at him. Thanks. I know that things didn't work out with us as teacher and student, but I hope that we can still be comrades. Naruto gave him a wide grin. Kakashi's lone eye widened but it turned into an eye smile. That sounds like a plan. Later Naruto. Kakashi vanished from the apartment. Naruto re-entered his apartment and looked at his cool new weapon. Naruto flew through the trees to get to the meeting spot. He had been contacted by Hinata's bodyguard to meet him near the river. After a tense stare promising pain, he grabbed his stuff and headed over. He was curious what this was about. He saw her standing by the river. Hey Hinata, Naruto called out. The girl in question turned to face him as he landed. She smiled at him and jogged up. So, what did you need to see me for? I just wanted to get you something before you went on your mission. Hinata said and produced an orange-colored rope bracelet with a swirl charm dangling. Wow, I'm getting all type of gifts today. Naruto said with a small smile. I guess that I should be giving you your present now too. Naruto sat before pulling out the same bracelet he got. The rope was lavender in color, and it had a pressed flower as a charm. Hinata took the bracelet and was very happy. Her smile made her blonde blush a little. So, how long will you be gone for? Hinata asked. At least 2.5 years. I hope to get really strong during that time. Naruto answered. Hinata looked at him in thought before looking at the bracelet she was given. Then I will get stronger too, she said, gaining Naruto's attention. Cher looked at him with a smile. In 2.5 years, when you get back, I will be stronger too. We will be stronger together. Naruto looked at her in surprise. She had come a long way from the timid girl he remembered. He gave her a smile too. Yeah, we will get stronger together. Naruto stated boldly. Oh, come on, a voice shouted. The two genin snapped to the voice to see Anko step out. Enough of this sappy stuff. Just grab his face and stick your tongue down his throat. Anko, Kurenai explained. Her reveal also revealed Sakura, Ino, Kiba, Shino, Shikamaru, Choji and Akamaru. Naruto was red in the face in embarrassment and anger. Hinata's whole head was red, and smoke was coming out of her ears. Her eyes rolled into the back of her head, and she fainted. Naruto caught her and tried to cool her down. Anko just cackled while Kurenai went to help and the genin just watched with wonder. Eyes opened to a dim-lit room. It took a while for the eyes to adjust to the light, but it soon did. He looked around the room they were in and wondered where he was. So, you're finally awake. The person turned to the voice to see a masked man. They kept their eyes on the man who took a seat. They looked at each other and tried to speak but the masked man stopped him. I wouldn't speak yet. You are still critical even if you're stable. I managed to save you, but I could not save your voice. Naruto destroyed your voice box. You can not longer speak. This made their eyes widen and fist clench. Yeah, I would be mad too but like I said, take it easy. It will be months before you can move around. He spoke. It took a while, but they did calm down and looked at the ceiling. The masked man scoffed at the dismissal, but he stayed. You know, I considered letting you die that day. You did not fit into what I am planning but I decided not to. Do you know why? I didn't think that you should die without knowing the truth. The truth about that day you lost your clan. I would know because I was there. They looked at the man with surprise. Yes, I did participate in the slaughter of your clan but only because I was asked to help. Itachi knew about me in the day and asked for my help for the sanctioned elimination of the Uchiha. The eyes narrowed in confusion. Yes, I said sanctioned. Come now, a whole clan eliminated and not one Konoha shinobi arrived. Don't you find that strange? I know the reason for the death of your clan is Itachi. If you want, I can tell that truth and who is responsible. You're going to be here for a while. Might as well learn the truth of your former village. So, what do you say, Sasuke? The young Uchiha looked at the masked man with hard eyes, them changing into the Sharingan. He nodded and the masked man could only smile. Very well, I will tell you the truth. However, I think that we should be introduced. My name is Uchiha Madara.